Good morning, everyone. It's Monday, January 9th. Almost forgot what day it is. And we're back. Markets are ripping higher in pre-market. John Deere lost the right to repair, and U.S. farmers won. And it's also green. So I don't know what's going on anymore in the world. Good news is bad news, and bad news is good news. But we've got interesting economic data on Thursday. And some stuff leading up to that. So I'll let you guys talk more about that. Maybe we'll kick today off with 3 minutes of journalist.
Why would we kick the day off like that? I want a good start to the day, gosh darn it.
So we can kick him off right away after.
I
Everyone's
don't
giving
know
a
if 3 minutes would be a good start. Maybe 3 seconds.
All right. We'll give him 3 seconds. Journalist, you have 3 seconds. And that's all the time we have for journalists today. Thanks, folks. Moving on. Let's invite some more people up from the crowd. I feel bad for journalists, but not that much.
Yeah, it looks like my Bed Bath & Beyond puts might take a bit of a hit today.
Ooh, I had a feeling about that. But opinion, that was 3.5 seconds, bro.
I'm a nice guy, okay? I let them go over a little bit. But yes, let's not start the day off with journalists that started off with some losses. So Bed Bath & Beyond, not doing so hot. Illustrious, what's up?
Let's start with it, though. Journalist is pretty good. He always has plays, you know. You have to respect that. He has plays on the grind. Come on, at least 1 minute. 1 minute of journalist to see how it goes.
Do it.
We can wait until after the market opens for journalists.
Yeah, we'll let him on after the market opens. People are getting a little antsy down there in the audience. I see you.
Yeah, Bed Bath & Beyond is currently up 25% pre-market. So on my puts, that might take a hit. I'm trying to debate whether or not I want to go ahead and try to sell it today, or if I want to hold on for their earnings pre-market tomorrow.
That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna hold and hope for a nice dip after earnings on my puts.
All right, I only bought the one put and I spent 8 cents a share on it, so screw it, let's do it.
Won't post earnings IV crush you though?
Well,
I guess if it's up 25%, does it really matter what IV does to you right now?
Yeah, right now IV is the least of my problems, but it's I think February 17th, $1 put. So I think I'm okay holding for one more day. Does anyone else have earnings today?
Ooh, let's go find that earnings calendar and see what's posting today.
Yeah. Okay, since we got some dead air to fill, ni hao ma, ni go, WallStreetBets. Let's talk about Chinese stocks, my friends. Let's talk about them. I often say I don't invest in China. That's not entirely true. I do have a few Chinese stocks, and I'm going to talk about them. We've talked about Baidu. We've talked about Tencent. We've talked about Baba. If you know who these companies are, they're giants. You can go out there and read 1,000 other opinions on these giants. I'm not going to talk about those guys. I'm going to talk about a few smaller stocks right now out of China that I find interesting. One of them is Hua, Huya. They're the Chinese version of Netflix. Really beaten down with the whole tech crackdown, just like Tencent, Baba, all the others. They fell off of a cliff. They plummeted. But, they're starting to fight their way back. They're up 100% on the month, but they're still down massively from where they were before. You know, they were trading 30, almost $40 a share, and then they dropped, 96% in stock price and are starting to fight their way back up. So that's HUYA. I find them a little interesting. And then something we didn't talk a lot about in Western media, but while there was the crackdown on tech, there was also a crackdown on schooling and tutoring. And that would be TAL Education Group, TAL, currently around a little over the $8 mark, was trading at $90 a share before the Chinese Communist Party came in and cracked down on tutoring. The thesis there is that as they go back to the 996 work schedule and as COVID lockdowns start to lift, you're not going to be able to stay at home with your kids anymore. You're going to need to have them somewhere while you're working those long, long hours. And places like the TAL Education Group and their tutoring provides those after-school hours and before-school hours that you're going to need when you return to that factory job. So TAL, if you look at the people that have gone into this stock, it's really just a bunch of hedgy banks. But I do find it compelling, and I think there's some room for it to go back up.
So specifically asking questions on TAL, besides the fact that they're a tutoring service, is there anything that kind of sets them apart?
They were the first to find, I guess you would say, a loophole into the crackdown that the CCP had on education. So basically they said, well, we want everyone to be educated publicly, and why would our glorious schools for the proletariat not give you all the information you need to live and work? So that's why they cracked down. They said no more tutoring. TAL was the first to say, well, what if we teach classes that aren't taught in schools? And the Chinese party said, okay, I guess. So now they've come out with a curriculum that's completely separate from the state curriculum that still teaches valuable skills like computer programming and stuff like that. But it's not the kind of stuff you'd learn in a classroom. And so they were really the first to get back into tutoring and really start getting kids back into classrooms.
Any other questions?
What's the ticker on that one, Scald? Or did you? Yeah, just if you can you repeat it?
Yeah, it's TAL, and then the other one is HUYA, HUYA.
All right, thank you, Scald.
Oh, we're talking about earnings earlier. I see here in the earning whispers, we've got about 6. We've got Tilray, so TLRY. I think you guys are familiar with the next one. CMC, so commercial metals. You've got Acuity, I haven't heard of that. AYI. PCYO, which is pure cycle. Price Smart, PSMT, and Vox, Vox International, VOXX. I think that's the only earnings today. Earnings whispers, yeah.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Banks report Friday, so that'll probably be the important day.
Oh, interesting. They all report after CPI.
Yo, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Jesus Christ, give me a second. I don't even know what's going on with my speakers or anything. Hello?
Okay. Hello.
Yeah, we hear you.
Now I'm good. So basically, are you guys pumping Bed Bath & Beyond? Look at that volume. Is this us or what's going on with it? Volume is at 4 million. I don't trade meme stocks.
Whoa. There's no us. This ain't a team sport, bro.
Yeah, last time I checked, you guys aren't sending me money when I lose.
I'm right.
So yeah, there's no us pumping Bed Bath & Beyond.
5% a day on SPY, give or take. and that's it. But I don't trade memes. But look at that volume.
It's always a good day to start trading memes.
You're always going to see an increase in volume on trading right before earnings. They have earnings pre-market tomorrow. I think that you're seeing a huge run-up in pre-market. I think that it's going to cool down significantly once the general market opens.
And I know it's got the IV crush before earnings, and it's also got the IV with the volatility it's recently experienced. But I made so much money on those puts that Loose Ventures was talking about that I kind of want to buy more puts again today. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm gonna try to resist that urge to buy puts on Bed Bath & Beyond because the premium's gonna be off the charts.
But so why is it up 25%? Is it that letter they sent out to their partners saying things are okay?
Because the hedgies are underwater, and this is the MOAS, and it'll be $20 in a week, and just you wait. This is it, boys. It's happening. Company was never dead. It was all just a big 5-head play, pretending to be bankrupt and submitting that form to get the hedgies stuck. This is it, boys. We're all going to be rich tomorrow.
This time is different.
4D chest, and their new CEO is going to be JFK. He didn't actually die. What up? No, I have no idea.
Yo, so basically, to cover myself on both sides, I'm just going to split it. I'm going to do what they call a strangle. I'm going to do a put and a call. Buy half and half and bet on volatility. Because I don't know what's about to happen. All I know it's about to move aggressively. So I'll make more than 100% for a call for Friday or a put for Friday. And then that'll cover the other side. And then whatever on top of that is profit. That's how you do it like a G, and you cover yourself on both sides. Let's go. Let's make some money, boys.
Nice.
Now, you do understand buying a strangle in a high volatility environment when the IV crush comes in, both those options premiums might drop off the cliff, and you might show a loss on both sides. Just letting you know, buddy.
Damn it.
I was going to say, buying
Oh,
a strangle on
100%, bro. But at the end of
IV.
the day, I'm not going to be in that play longer than an hour and a half. So I buy at market open, I get out by 11. And I'll be pretty close to the money at that point because of the volatility and the volume. It's going to move a lot, you know?
Oh, do we have another I'm not married to the company guy? I just play it quick to get my cash? Because we need more of those.
Listen, guys, the best meme stock is SPY.
Yeah, SPY is a pretty dope meme stock, I'm not going to lie.
That's a fact, bro. I do a strangle every time Powell speaks or CPI or anything like that, and then I just sell in an hour and a half, and so far, so good. Those days I make like 20, 30%.
Yeah. But we started talking about Chinese stocks. I'm actually gonna be buying puts on Tencent, TME. I mean, the stock is up big. Don't see the fundamentals, and then, unfortunately, China always ends bad. So I'm actually buying the puts $8. I think it's April 17th.
Does anybody know Max Payne for SPY?
I got Gamma School.
Talking about 10-cent music or the other 10-cent that's like
Yeah, 10-cent music, ticker TME.
China. Does anybody know what Max Payne is for SPY today?
If you Google SPY Max Payne, the first website that shows up is called SPY Max Payne, and you go there and it tells you the Max Payne for SPY. Fun fact. Yeah, it's real dope, actually. It actually shows you where all the options contracts are expiring on the day. It's pretty nice.
Okay, so what does max pain mean? Meaning the maximum pain that it's going to experience or something?
Exactly. I think the max pain point is the point when the stock trades in that point, the most amount of people who've bought and sold puts are going to experience, not puts, calls and puts are going to experience the maximum loss. So I think he uses, somebody correct me, he uses open interest to determine the amount of options being bought at a price or strike price. And if the price doesn't move, if it's not volatile enough, theta's going to eat at you So if your stock doesn't move above or below a strike price that much, if it stays within the range, the max pain, the most amount of people who've opened a position there is gonna get eaten up. Yeah, correctly. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it.
And we're talking about maximum-pain.org or whatever.
Put me on to something that I didn't know. Thank you so much. I'm going to use that as one of the tools that I incorporate into my trading.
Yeah, it's the price at which most options expire worthless.
What?
And the reason why the max pain works, just Google like max pain. It'll be like, just Google
maximum-pain.com. MaximumPain.com. I just did it. It's not
maximum-pain.com. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And it'll show you exactly where SPY is. And to give a little bit of background, the reason why things trend towards the max pain in any given stock is that 90% of options expire worthless. That's across the entire market, across all time. That 90% of options that expire worthless includes your options, folks. 90% of your options will expire worthless. That's just the statistics of the market. So,
but it doesn't always work.
It does not always work. It does not always work. And
on Friday, for example, the max pain was, I think, 383, and the market ended up at 389. Just FYI.
Yeah, and SPY's been showing a pattern of avoiding max pain pretty heavily in the last probably last 3 weeks, I would say. So it's not like a surefire strategy. If it was, everyone would use it, right?
No,
and especially
it's something that you could use as well as using other things such as RSI, looking at different charts, looking at highs and lows of pre-markets, looking at different EMAs and charting it all out. And based on that, find the support and find the resistance.
You guys are making me tired.
Wow, that was good stuff. That's good stuff.
Look, there's a million YouTube videos going over max pain and how to use it. You just go to YouTube, look it up. You will find a ton of information. We don't need to go super in depth here.
Yeah, I think we're getting a little bit too much for our audience. So let's move on to some more plays.
Big ballin', you generally have a lot of penny stock plays. Let's go for it.
We do have a question.
I'm here. I was fucking around. Grand Rising, everybody. Happy morning, Wall Street Bets. I got a couple of little shit shows that I've been fucking around with, of course. This morning, I'm looking at SONN. It's got a nice little bit of volume moving. I'm also looking at OCGN. I'm still playing around with CRKN. I will make a note that with crypto, I'm big on crypto. I've been in crypto for a lot of years. With it moving, I'd keep an eye on MARA. I'd keep an eye on Riot, RIOT, BTBT, HUT. I'm just thinking with crypto moving, these may move.
Hey, Mr. Pump and Dump, to your girl. Let me tell you something real quick. We got your plays. We appreciate them. We really do. Honestly, thank you. But just keep it short and sweet, to the point. Let's go.
You got it. Okay.
Did you say Oxygen on one of those tickers?
Give me a second.
Yeah, he did say Oxygen, which is a meme stock favorite.
Well, there you go. Again, I have a personal formula I've kind of just work on. I use the volume based on market cap, and then I look at shares outstanding, and I also look at the 52-week high. That kind of determines if the stock has options, kind of where we're going to fight at on Friday, so to speak. So that's my play so far, guys. Have a good day. Thank you.
We appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, nice.
I got a penny stock called TMDI, Titan Medical, playing more for an event, which is a potential buyout.
Who's buying them, and what's the expected target?
So, I mean, it's come up to about 80 cents from 45 cents last couple of weeks. Medtronic is a potential buyer. I mean, there are two parameters, two events possible. One is a buyout from Medtronics, because otherwise they will get delisted pretty soon off the NASDAQ because they're not at $1. and or else they have their robotic machine, which is called Enos, which they could drop some PR on, and that could take it up as well. I mean, caution, it could go to zero. So, but it has a very good trend, and it has a pretty good story in terms of a potential buyout. Just take a look, guys.
What was the ticker?
TMDI. T for Tango, M for Maryland, D for Donkey, I for India.
Skull, there's a Hendrick 81 says it rejected 390 hard Friday. I assume I'm talking about SPY. It's doing that again in pre. Max's pre is 385. Will go down today. VIX showing the truth.
Yeah, you got to look at that. You know, Hendricks, is Hendricks up here right now? Hendricks mentioned, you know, VIX is pumping pre-market and SPY is also pumping. When what we've seen recently is when VIX is pumping and SPY is pumping, that signals a reversal within the first few hours, right? Because you got the VIX index creeping up. So you got fear and uncertainty rising, but you got stock prices rising. One of those two things is going to break. And last few times, it's been SPY that's broke, not the VIX. So I'm looking at buying puts at open. Exactly what strike, I'll figure that out when I look at the options chain. But yeah.
Yeah, that's very true. Most of the time, the VIX is meant to be moving in the opposite direction to the SPY or to the market. So when we have the VIX pumping, the VIX measures the puts, right? The buys on puts. So all these hedge funds buying puts to kind of hedge their position, to hedge their downside. So as the puts increase and the markets are also increasing, we're gonna get this bearish reversal on the trend. So just watch out for that. I see a strong resistance zone here. So watch out for that as the market opens. That's all.
I forgot to mention one last one, fellas. It had a little news this morning, so that might be why it's moving. But the ticker is TBLT. Check it out.
See, I have a question for you. How are your penny pumps that you did last week going on?
So
since I saw the two of them went down the shithole.
Well, I did pretty well with let me go back into my book real quick and let me just check it out.
And
right.
Skull, thanks for bringing that up about the SPY. I appreciate that.
So Mullen was my best move. I got in Mullen at 21 cents. I ended up starting with 10,000 shares, and I wrote it up to like.
I was making an observation that you're genuinely 90% wrong, and that people shouldn't listen to you.
That depends on whose portfolio you're looking at. I'm not trying to push anybody in the hole. I'm just showing you what I see, and I get in and out.
Like I said, he's Mr. Pump and Dump, still your girl. So, but yeah, I digress.
I think he generally has said that a lot of his plays, after he said them, it's kind of late to make the play as well.
Yeah, it's just a quick in and out. I'm curious, though, about the historical performance. So Mullen was your best. What else you got from last week?
Last week, I had Mullen, and give me one more second. Well, I catch a little bit of change on HKD between the $24 and the $40.
Oh my word, HKD. Oh.
I mean, I'm just trying to get paid. You know, I'm not here to do nothing but show you what I'm doing in between the market being red. You know, it is what it is. I got to eat somewhere. So I'm waiting on this AMC bag. And in between, I use my $6,000 to $10,000 just to play. I am stuck in CRK.
Wait. What are you waiting for? AMC bag?
They'll be eating at a soup kitchen.
I missed that.
Waiting for AMC back.
I mean, I'm down $47,000. I'm just waiting. I mean, what the fuck? I'm not going to sell the shit. You know, I have like 5,000 shares between AMC and Ape. I got fucked. So in between them, I'm just playing the game. Shit.
But why wouldn't you just sell and you could harvest those losses? And
I've already put my screenshots of my portfolio. There's no way to sell when you're down. I'm down 47 between the two. So I'm just waiting to see if they merge them together. I just need to get up to about $10 and I'll be out. So it is what it is. I have time. I don't need the money. at this point, if I sell, I'm losing all my cash. So this is a part-time gig for me. You know what I mean? So
But if you sold, you could.
Didn't
there's
you
no
say-
selling. Go ahead.
With all due respect, didn't you say last week that you just get in, make your money, you do your thing? That's what you said, word for word.
Correct. I did. I got fucked in AMC. I've been in since February last year. I should have got out. I didn't. I just kept biting the apple. Okay. So it is what it is. It's me being real.
No, but if you leave now, you save some
Let me
money.
get this straight. You were gang raped by AMC and then you decided you liked it.
Here's what I like. Before, long ago on WallStreetBets, there was a guy named American Pegasus, and I think Opinion will remember this guy and maybe a few other people. But this guy was pretty good at trading, and then he decided to get into penny stocks, and then he took his $60,000 portfolio to zero. But then, like a true WallStreetBets hero, he did it 6 more times. He blew up portfolio after portfolio, writing these penny stocks down to zero over and over again. And that was when WallStreetBets allowed penny stock talk on the main forum. That was a long time ago when it was a much smaller community. But this guy reminds me of that, and I'm excited to see how it goes. I truly am. I'm excited.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's week 2. I'm only up like $450. If these 2 other plays that I threw into at the last moment, they went down, like you said, you fucking with rolling the dice, Russian roulette, whatever you want to call it. So, but I am in AMC. I'm stuck. But regardless, I own a business. I make money. This is just kind of, it is what it is. I fucking played myself. So thanks for everybody stabbing me in my neck. But I'm still gonna hold this bag until hopefully one day it comes back to at least half my money or
Yeah, it's not going to. It's not going to, but you need a flare. I'm scamming myself.
Just a quick.
Well, actually, I have good news for you. AMC will get to $10 once they do the reverse split. You'll just have, a tenth of your shares.
And then at least I get some money back. But selling today or yesterday or last week, it is what it is, man. Fuck it. I write it off on taxes. I keep it moving. So
You missed the second part. You're just gonna lose a tenth of your shares, but it'll get to $10. So
Again, if my dollar value goes up, if I sell today, I'm negative. If I can sell in any part of this, be green, and I can keep it moving, it's a win at this point because I fucked myself. So
stop being haters, guys. Come on. The guy's taking on a risk. He's making a Wall Street bet. So respect to that.
Just the mentality that when a stock goes down, that you haven't lost the money yet. Like you mentioned, like I haven't lost it yet. No, that amount of money, wherever you put it, is worth the same amount of money whether you keep it at AMC or you put it in one of these other penny stocks.
Agree. I agree with you.
So
I mean, but I can't get my money back anyway. So.
Yeah, but if you feel like you have a better opportunity to turn that money into something more than what it's worth
today,
now,
it's not worth anything. Like last week when Cosmos ran and AMC was like $4, and I had some lots from February last year, 2021. I sold those lots, threw it in COSM, made some money, and kept it moving. So I have to move.
Yeah, so why wouldn't you do that with your AMC stuff? If you feel more confident at doing the daily stuff, why wouldn't you take?
Let me tell you. Okay, I'll tell you exactly why. Opening my E-Trade app up right here, right now. Let's look. Since everybody knows so fucking much. Okay, I have 2,568 shares of AMC priced at $14.68. The value is $9,800. Then the ape, I have 3,315 shares at $7.46. That's $4,500. So that's about 15K. And I'm down 29. So I need to be up just a little bit higher, and I'll take my little 20K and keep it moving.
You
what
can't
it
be
is.
as bad as that guy that has $90,000 in debt off of BBBY, bro.
But at the end of the day, my rich, my broke is another person's rich. So it is what it is, right? So
yeah. All right. What else we got?
It is what it is. I got one. I've been talking about this for a while. Delta Airlines. So Delta Airlines CEO was doing some keynote speech over at CES last week. And I said that was bullish. So the stock's up 10% on the week, like I said it would be. And it looks like they've done some stuff with their Wi-Fi where they've invested money into their Wi-Fi. So they'll have the bandwidth for streaming services. Their earnings are on the 13th of this month. And I think that they're going to have some really bullish guidance because they've been investing in their crew of pilots, which was their choke point, and I think they're going to continue to go up. They're going to have some good guidance on their pilots staffing. I don't know how good their earnings are actually going to be numerically, but their outlook should be bullish. So I don't know if the play is. I don't think the play is done yet. I'm going to keep on holding on to my calls.
Do they have a shortage of pilots?
Yeah, and what they did to counteract that was they started new contracts for better pay, and I think they're going to brain drain other airline companies for their pilots. They're going to poke them.
We had a airline pilot here, Jet. Maybe he's here. So the way he explained it to us, and it was really informative. The majority of airlines, like 90%, they do the contracts based on the number of years you're flying with. So pilots don't get to change airlines because they want to stay in one place.
Their seniority.
Yeah. They want to stay one place for a longest time and get the lines that they want. Like, let's say you live in Denver, and the guy in Denver is going to have only Denver to Chicago, whatever. And yeah, that's why they don't lose the pilots. And that's why the problem now after COVID is everybody lost their seniority, and they all went to like a private sector with the small companies flying like cargo and shit like that. Yeah, I wish Jet was here. He would explain it better, but that's the gist of it. And you can read about that online also.
Just in case you guys need another penny stock, ticker symbol CNTX, up 58% pre-market context.
Did you say a ticker was CNTX, buddy?
Yeah, I'm not in it, but I just saw it and then wanted to let you guys know.
I got a ticker if anyone's interested. Max Q. So I'm from a little town in Nova Scotia on the ends of the earth, Canso. And these guys came by around 10 years ago and said they wanted to build a rocket spaceport, and now I think they're breaking ground. I think its market cap now 40 billion, share price is like 10 cents a share. I just see a wild growth factor because I think they're putting a demonstration launch on this summer, and by 2025 they plan on putting 10 launches a year or 8 launches a year, something like that, into low Earth orbit. And the absolute money.
40 billion market cap.
Yeah, that's what it is right now.
What's the ticker?
Max Q.
And 0 cents. 0.40 cent a dollar. I don't know.
Wait, they're launching satellites out of Canada?
Yes, they're supposed to be Canada's first commercial spaceport.
That's real dumb.
That takes a lot of energy because you want to be closer to the equator. The higher up you are in latitude, the more effort it takes to launch something off out of the atmosphere.
Their apparent advantage is the lack of population here, and it's surrounded by ocean, so it provides perfect trajectory if failure happens. I think something like that.
Yeah, that's all good.
Yeah, but that's not how rockets work, man. Like, so if you look at America, for example, we got Cape Canaveral in Florida, and we got Houston, right, Texas. They're basically as far south as you can get in the continental United States and still do launches. The closer you can get to the equator, look at Roscosmos, look at the Russians, right? They don't launch out of Siberia. They launch out of Kyrgyzstan, right? As far south as the USSR could get back in the day. So, I mean, you want to launch as close to the equator as possible because it's just more efficient. It's just cheaper. And if they're trying to be a budget commercial space carrier, I don't know how they're going to be able to do that out of Canada just because of physics.
I mean, the other thing is, do you really want to invest in a company that says we're going to build here because it's easier and safer if something goes wrong?
I got one real quick, fellas. SMMT. It has support at around 415, 420, and it has potential to hit $5. SMMT.
Wait, what's the play on this one?
This last one is SMMT. And I'm showing a support around 415, 420, right at 414 in that area, and potentially $5.
I just want to let you guys know, in addition to buying puts on SPY at open because the VIX is still rising and SPY is still rising, I'm probably going to buy puts on a lot of these penny stocks as well, just because they'll probably move down even harder than the SPY moves down when there's a bearish correction later today. We'll see what happens.
Some of these penny stocks don't have options, but chicks definitely agree with you. Ride it.
Summit Therapeutics does. It do.
Get in where you fit in, my friend.
Yeah. Also, something I've been meaning to bring up is people should have broker accounts that allow you to short stocks. If you don't, then you probably lost money this year or last year.
Well, maybe not short, but at least buy puts. At least be able to hedge your bet to the downside, right? But yeah, good point.
I'd worry about the cost to borrow on some of these.
Yeah. There is a difference between like getting a put and actually shorting a stock. You're taking a bearish position when you buy a put. When you short a stock, you're actually borrowing it from somebody else. There's a completely different risk exposure to that position, and that's pretty much outside the scope of the Wall Street Bets chat. So we'll move on.
So the problem with like penny stocks is that they don't have a lot of volume when it comes to the options, and also like the strike prices aren't close. I've seen some of the penny stocks; they have like 5 to 7 strike prices. They're not that volatile though, so
I don't.
So for me,
I'm not advising going long on penny stocks or short on penny stocks. I stay out of both of them.
Oh, you'll find that a lot of these, there's no one to borrow from. Like, just like you don't have options on a lot of these stocks, on a lot of the pennies, you can't find someone to borrow from to short. It's just tough. Like,
So that's why I just play the actual, the volume that I may say it to you guys when it's up at 8:30, but I'm up at 7, right? And I can pre-market trade. Some of them you can pre-market trade, some you can't, depending on the stock, of course. And so I'm looking at the volume just to get in and out at whatever particular moment.
Yeah, so whenever you say these, you're really just long the underlying.
No, I'm in and out. There's no long on anything. I try to be out by the end of the day. I don't want to hold.
Long just means you're buying shares, dude.
Okay, there you go. Fair enough. Yes, sir.
yeah, he's just trying to scalp them, right? Quick intraday trade. If it goes up 10%, you take your profits, you sell it, right? Done.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I mean, 200% is far-fetched, but if you see something run 200% in the morning, you can guarantee it's going to come back down. And if the volume's right, and I've noticed if the 52-week high is close in price, regardless of where it's at, it sometimes moves that day, throughout the day, or even throughout the week. If it has options on a Monday, it may not do well, but Thursdays are great days to catch whatever option is the next, price target that we're going to fight over, 50 cents a dollar, whatever the shorts are pushing down. That's the price that I kind of generally know it's going to run up pretty close to that based on how much volume is going to determine how high it goes. So it's definitely a risk, but I've kind of mapped it out and it's pretty my brain works it out pretty easy and it works for me. So
basically your stock trading strategy is like a drunken one night stand. You get in, get out, and hope it was worth it.
Damn right. And hopefully you leave with a little money and not missing your Rolex.
And no STDs.
Most of them you can get rid of.
And earlier we were talking about the reverse split on AMC. You realize like when you reverse split and the price goes up. But
I realize I'm fucked. I don't need everybody telling me that. I know how to play this game. It is what it is. It's my fucking fat 50 bands I lost. It's no big deal. I'm not giving a fuck. So it is what it is.
46. What would you say you're down like 46?
47, 9, 48. Bro, I make a lot of money a year. It is. I write this shit
I'm
up
down
on
106. So
my man, you
all
with
right,
it,
brother.
Okay, I feel better.
Right,
Thank you, my man.
Hey, just know when we say these things, for the most part, we're not doing it to get on your case.
I don't take
We're
it
just trying
personal,
to
man.
help
I
you out
smoke
'cause
my
we've been
power
there.
weed. If I listen to y'all on advice, I'd probably be broke. So it's cool.
All right.
Those are some heavy bags, but do your thing.
Let's please move on.
This room is so great. I really get motivated every day. I appreciate everyone's advice. I appreciate all the options, stock, and crypto picks. I appreciate all the pump and dumps. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it.
I agree. I second that.
Hey, Slut, I saw that Max Payne for Silvergate for this week is $17.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Sorry, you want me to comment on Silvergate Bank based on its Max Payne?
What was that?
I mean, sorry, I don't understand.
No, I was reading on the first when I clicked on Max Payne for one of the websites for Silvergate. It said it's $17 today for this week.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. I previously was of the opinion that they were a bank, and so they had access to the unlimited liquidity of the Fed, like all banks do. So it couldn't be that bad. I've since found out that they were issuing massive loans on crypto as collateral and have marked down huge capital losses. So they were taking in crypto and issuing loans in fiat. And so because of this, they ended up holding the bag on a lot of these crypto assets. It looks like a $780 billion one-time loss.
Yeah, fuck Silvergate.
Yeah, the idea is to do the opposite, right? To take in fiat and give out crypto.
Yeah, well, what they should be. What I feel, I don't understand why they got into this game. There are some other banks that do issue loans against crypto. I mean, even like Bank of America has a division that will issue loans against crypto, but they won't do it against, Dogcoin 17. They'll issue a loan against Bitcoin, and that's about it. But I don't know exactly what Silvergate's practices were, but it sounds like they issued loans on FTT token, or at least somewhat. Not a good look.
Yeah, as far as that $17 Max Payne, those options were probably wrote a while ago, before the news broke that they're in hot water. So that's why it's so high. I don't think that it's going to climb back up to 17. If it does, then that'd be very surprising to me. This is sort of like a special event. I don't know where Journalist is, but you're welcome, and I'm officially smarter than you because I've got a...
coming in with those punchlines.
Is Silvergate a federally recognized bank? Like, do they have the same protections?
Yeah, they're a bank. Yeah. But unlike a regular bank, they were issuing massive amounts of loans on crypto assets, and they weren't really discriminating, or at least weren't discriminating as much as the big lenders were on what assets they lend against. If you hold a bunch of Bitcoin, you can get a loan against that because that's collateral. But it sounds like they were issuing loans against that. What was that?
You mean you can get it outside of crypto itself?
Yeah. No, you can go to a regular ass bank, man, and get a loan on your Bitcoin.
I don't know if I knew that. Interesting.
Yeah, but it's not fixed, right?
I mean, they're fucked, but
Silvergate's in trouble.
I think as the guy who brought this all up in the first place, I think that the play for now is a little bit done, and they're going to go into earnings pretty soon. It might even run up into earnings now that the initial shock is over. So the next, this is going to sound terrible, but the next play would be waiting until the Sam Bankman-Fried trial, or if something were to happen to Sam, some unfortunate event were to happen to Sam, I'd expect Silvergate value to go up. I think there's a very large potential that the people who are higher up working in Silvergate may be liable to some of the fraud that was going on. I think there's a very real fear of that, and play it accordingly.
Yeah, but everything that's going to happen is going to happen in months. It's going to take the longest time to do.
Yeah. So if I'm understanding this right, you think that Sam Bankman-Fried is going to sing like a teen pop idol and totally rat out a ton of other people that's going to affect other companies?
My boy Sam, I'm his biggest fan. He doesn't look like the kind of guy who is going to make it in prison. So I think, he might be singing. This is all total speculation. So
can we talk about Brazil too? just as a caveat
I
here.
think, Sam, you're not talking slot.
I just yeah, to recap, I just think that the play might be over for now. Like you were saying, Simple, I agree. Sam Bankman's trial is in October. If something were to happen to him though before that trial happens, it would be bullish for Silvergate. But we'll see. And this is total speculation, but I'm willing to play it.
See, I don't agree with that because as the bankruptcy proceedings go along, the more that these companies were intertwined with loans and funds to and back, there's clawbacks that are available, and the current manager or the whoever's running FTX right now, the former Enron manager, he's going to go after every dime. So I disagree with you. I think that company still has a lot of risk at hand that we don't know, and it's not going to be months. It's going to be years before this is all sorted out.
They just released their statement of all their risk exposure and the damage that FTX has done.
But do you really believe that? And you don't know what the courts are going to decide later on.
I'm working with the same information that you are.
Okay. I just disagree. I think there's a lot of risk there. I think that's a no touch.
So what's this Brazil news? I've heard it mentioned a few times. I've not had time to Google it. I just got back to my actual computer, and I'm not able to Google stuff while driving anymore.
Basically, January 6th for here happened there.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Was it a non-event, or is it more of a military?
They stormed the Congress.
Exactly.
Is it like a full-on military junta, or is it more of like
No, civil.
Unarmed civilians, but they stormed the Congress, they stormed the presidential palace, and they stormed the Supreme Court and vandalized.
But I think hundreds of people have already been arrested, so it looks like the new president at least has some power. But the question is, how does this relate to markets? Like, yeah, it's cool this happened, or not cool, depending which side you're on. But so what? How can we trade this?
That's how you trade it. PBR, Petrobras, Brazil. So what's the play there? Someone was talking about this.
Yeah, so PBR, real quick, looking to buy some puts on them. Obviously going to affect their economy a little bit. And yeah, just that's the play really at the end of the day.
Is Envev in the gallery? This is his baby. If he's here, he plays PBR a lot.
Yeah, Envev, go ahead, raise your hand. We'll invite you back up here.
I expected that the stock market Brazilian was gonna fall, but it didn't on Monday. I was really surprised. I was waiting to pick up some Vale and Banco Bradesco.
So the play puts, right? Typically, this stuff isn't good for business.
Yeah, EWZ is the Brazil ETF, but it's only down 1.5%. I think this might be a sell the news kind of thing.
Yeah, it's probably pretty bullish because they tried, and the former president had military ties.
Right.
And when the military showed up, everyone was cheering, and then they arrested him. So it's kind of like, this isn't going to work. So I think it's positive for their.
Yeah. So Bolsonaro has been jawboning about, basically putting on his Trump hat and saying, hey, we're going to overthrow shit if the election doesn't go my way. But that's been going on for like a while now. He's been threatening all this stuff. So, yeah, to your point, looks like the armed forces are going to stuff his rebellion. Looks like they're siding on the side of Lula da Silva. So I think it's bullish, but, I'd play it through something like the ETF.
I just want to say MVEV has joined us. You've been playing PBR for a while, Petrobras Brazil. How are you playing this recent news, MVEV?
I would play it both ways, calendar spread. Bearish short term, bullish long term. PBR in general is bearish whenever Lula is in office, bullish when Bolsonaro's in office. But like you guys mentioned, it's basically a January 6th deal. Simple Vice is correct. There's some value in the banks in Brazil. And so if you want to follow his research, that's something I would recommend as well. But PBR in general, When it's dipped down to the 9 to 950 range, it's not technical, it's just price channels. It's trended back up 6 months out. It's on the downturn. They do have some underlying issues, so it's risk. It's a risky play. I know there's a couple gentlemen here a few days ago that talked about shares or long PBR. There's a lot that goes into PBR's financials in regards to the fact that they're state-owned and how they manage the fuel prices there. So until we see oil tick back up above 80, 85, I don't see PBR being above $12 a share unless something drastic changes. They have a lot of risk with the green initiative that their current CEO wants to do, and Lula is all about that. So from an investor standpoint, that's negative because it's spending money.
All right, so to sort of sum it up, calendar spread short in the near term, however, a long leg dated farther out, so maybe puts near dated, calls long dated, but you still don't see it going above a $12 price target unless oil gets above 85 a barrel. Is that a fair way to summarize your thoughts?
Exactly. Yeah. The other two plays I mentioned to you guys earlier, Scald, on the Confused Money thing, was CIO and ILPT. Both are REITs. Both are more value play. Both price to book under half. The thesis on CIO is a highly density populated area portfolio, and then the other one is an industrial REIT and focuses on industrial properties. So.
Yeah, so that industrial REIT, is this like, are you basically longing U.S. manufacturing? Because, I mean, traditionally, that's been pretty beaten up.
Yeah, I would long both scenarios. The reason I'm long or bullish on the industrial sector as a whole is the demand that we just went through during the pandemic and the shift that policy has had toward the United States. Gross domestic, from technology to healthcare. We've recognized our exposure internationally, and we're trying to get a hold of that. It's obvious through what they've done with semiconductor, and then just your natural demand that we have for raw materials as our consumables have increased, from EVs to the consumer discretionaries, just based on population growth had an increase, and so raw material demand's going to increase, and so on. It's inevitable for revenues not to continue driving up. As far as what I'm seeing from a construction standpoint, very heavy in the industrial sector, so it's not slowing down, in my opinion. Sorry to be long-winded. Nobody's talking.
No, it's all good. Not long-winded at all.
And I like the idea too, just to kind of echo that sentiment with the, even though it's not really that, like the CHIPS Act added with the new fabs that are going to be built over the next few years, the Inflation Fighting Act or whatever that was, that's going to start building more roads and other infrastructure. So just to give you that momentum play too, I think over the next few years, none of that money's been spent, but it will be over the next few years.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the.
The thing is, I own a construction company that we were basically 60% industrial, and so we are the infrastructure company. We work for companies like CF Industries, Albemarle, Alcoa, all of these large firms that we buy and hold. And so what I've seen recently is many of the smaller plants have increased their plant to satisfy the EV raw material demand. And so I've been taking that with what I'm seeing in my construction company and we're probably 3 years before anyone can see revenues from this, before your plant is ready to produce. And so the demand is there. It's typical what I've seen in the LNG as well. So those two sectors, if you guys want to research those, I'll give you one ticker that I've been looking at, and that's Maestris Group, ticker MG. And what they do is they provide testing services and cleaning services to the industrial sector. Their price has been beat up quite a bit. I need to figure out why. I haven't spent too much time in the research, but you can look at them. But in general, that's my consensus for the industrial sector. I'm bullish on it just because of what I'm seeing.
Thank you for that. We got a few minutes left here, guys, before market open. So let's do some rapid fire plays if we could. We've already had a lot of plays called out today. I just want to recap what people are going into in the next 3 minutes when markets open. Who's got some plays on the day or some plays on the week that they're making?
Yeah, so sure, no problem. I'm going in Baba. Some calls, obviously playing the China plays today. Also looking at Mark. I'm trying to go on some calls there. Looking at let me grab my handy notes here. 113. Looking to go on there, and then also looking at Riot, which was mentioned earlier today. I might look at that. And there was a REIT mentioned on a show earlier today called ILPT. It's more for the office space. And with that play, I'm also going to be going to WeWork. Yeah, you heard that right. WE. I'm going to be going on calls there. I feel like there's going to be a shift into the office spaces.
CIO is the office space REIT. ILPT is the industrial REIT. But thank you
for the correction.
So came in 9. So I came in like 30 minutes late, but I don't know if you guys already talked about Tesla, but it's up almost like 5% pre-market. There's a little short squeeze going on right now.
Yeah, but will it stay at 5%?
Do we think 5% rise after like an 80% drop is a squeeze? Was that?
I'm long. I'm down a ton. Don't listen to me.
So I got a job offer, and it's with a company called Tiber Creek, and they are somehow associated to a company called GreenPro Capital Corp. The ticker for that is GRNQ. I just looked this up. If you look at the 6 month, it was at $2.50 in September, and right now it's at $1, and it looks like it's bouncing. So you guys may make $1 on it.
So we're buying it off the DD of work. That's nice.
I have no idea. I just came across this shit, mentioned it to you.
We're going to go ahead and buy puts on that since they're going to hire Wattgeek. No, I'm kidding with you. But
no, it's probably the best idea. No, I mean, like, you guys, seriously, insider trading.
Just bought 1,000 shares. Thank you.
Here we go. GRNQ needs more looking into then.
Full regard mode.
No, I like it. I like a Wattgeek. Thank you.
I think it's Berkshire somehow. I think they mentioned that to me in the interview bullshit that they were somehow associated to Berkshire Hathaway.
Well,
I'm sorry, I had no idea my mic was on.
It's
the ticker you just gave us is based out of Hong Kong.
Oh yeah,
not related to Berkshire in any way.
I'm trying to sort that out. Dang.
That's market open.
Is open.
Bell.
My ear.
Are you getting paid an FTX token?
No, it's actually a really good job. And like I'm worried about the Hong Kong thing, actually. I learned that this morning too.
Bros is lifting off like close to about 7% today so far.
I was looking, so at market open, my Bed Bath & Beyond put only lost 1 cent in value. Or it gets a full $1, I guess, but hey.
I've been talking about Rumble calls, leaps. I'm up 20% since I mentioned it, I think, last week.
Everyone's looking at their accounts. It's the silent part of the show.
Yeah, the
It's like
concentration.
let me watch my portfolio either tank or moon for about 30 seconds and then go back to normal.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a reminder that your portfolio is either green or red today. Either way, just smile because at least someone's making money. It's not me, it's not you, it's somebody else.
So I'm just
Actually,
going to
good-
say,
good-
it is potentially day 2 of all my long uranium positions being green. So let's get some more rip, and I can celebrate this for the little bit that it happens. That's important.
Gang green over here.
Man, I've been playing the Fallout games recently, and they have all these songs about uranium on the radio in the game, and it's making me want to long uranium again.
Join me, Scald. It's a great sector.
Yes, sir.
Like uranium fever covered by the grant.
You know what's funny, Scold? I still haven't finished playing Fallout 4.
Plus, if you join Uranium Gang, you get to say your games are radioactive, and that alone is probably worth the money.
Nuclear gang over here. Yo, yeah. UEC definitely has been killing it for me for the past year or two.
It's me, Tesla guy again. You guys see it's like breaking 120 right now. I don't know if you guys are watching this.
Hey, listen,
I have good,
take your games.
Yeah, I have good hopes for you, Tesla guy. I hope. I already made my money on the puts and I'm out, so I hope you get your bags back and are able to unload them onto some chump that thinks Tesla's going to go to the moon and be larger than all the automakers in the world combined.
Yeah, I just sold all
my Tesla last
Yeah,
week.
me too. I just sold all mine.
Like your puts or what?
Your rational thinking on Tesla is not appreciated.
Yeah.
Thank you, Scald, for that TAL play. I'm currently in calls and I'm up.
We got to send those Chinese kids to school.
I mean, you joke, but having kids from China come over to the U.S. for university and then go back is like a huge thing that happens. Not even just China, most of Asia, honestly.
You know, I when I was living in Hong Kong, I stayed on this place called Admiralty Way. And as I started to learn a little bit of Cantonese and Mandarin, I realized that the symbol for admiral is just the symbol for man, boat, and hat. That's it. It's a man on a boat with a hat. That's the admiral. Makes a whole lot of sense to me.
That's amazing.
Oh, Chinese characters are great because you can decipher words like that. There's just so many of them to break down. But once you know them, you're like, I don't know what that word is, but I know what the symbols mean, so I pretty much know what it's saying.
I bought some Disney puts on Friday, and it is like just dropping off.
I think Gen Z, with their emoji talk, is going to have an easier time picking up the Chinese language.
So, since we're talking about China, if you want to say thank you, you say "谢谢." And if you want to say thank you in Japanese, you say "arigatou gozaimasu." And thank you in English.
What the fuck did I come back to? Is this a linguistic lovers? How to love a language?
Do you know what the word for noise is in Chinese, Simple Vice?
No.
It's the character for woman repeated 3 times inside of a house. No, that's really what it is. I'm not being racist. That's actually the character for noise.
I don't think that's racist. I think that's chauvinist.
I think it's racist. No, we're going with racist.
True, guys. Actually, the word for house, wife, is a character, a woman inside a house. In Japanese, so it's just cultural. I don't think it's racist.
It's racist.
Speaking of
You realize
chauvinist,
Japanese uses the same lettering as not all their lettering, but for that
Yeah,
particular thing, they use the same ones.
One of the 3 alphabets. The symbol for love is a woman and a child.
Are you people done?
All right, now on to important things. Ape is running, and that's what really matters, people. Ape to the moon. Let's go.
How much?
Oh
How
my-
much? I'm in my car.
Shit.
How much is it running? What's the percentage?
Quite a bit.
It's up like 4%, but I'm going to believe that it's going to be 90%.
4%.
4%. Is that a game for eight ants?
It's actually at 6%, but who the fuck is counting?
Oh,
Me.
see? Listen, that's a 50% increase from when I last saw it. And I will take 50% increases on every time I check something. That's big.
Bros is at like 9% right now.
Great.
And as you say that real quick, that's why I play the game I play. Because I'll take my little gains and I don't pay no fees and just get in and out however I can live.
Mm-hmm.
Bro,
That's the
you're
way I
down
play.
40K on AMC, please. The copium is
Shit
unreal.
happens. Shit happens. Fuck it.
True.
Simple.
None of
If
us
you
are gonna
ignore all the losses, you have only gains, dude. All right? Don't
Yeah,
hate.
on a serious note, if you are losing money and you lost money last week or just last year, who cares? Make 2023 your best year. Have
That's
the
what
goal
I'm
to make
talking
some
about.
money and get over it. Just stop worrying about it. Stop thinking about it. Go make
I
some
think other
dollars.
people worry about what you lose more than you actually fucking worry about.
Jesus Christ, this sounds like a post on BBPY sub. Why do people care what I invest in? I want to lose my own money.
Simple, we love you.
Simple. It's not about making money. It's about sending a message to the fat cats. All right?
Yeah. If you're not
Simple.
here to burn down our entire generation and waste their money, then you're here for the wrong reason.
Simple, you got to respect
It
Simple
sounds
though,
like
because
that.
he's coming with that pure value play. And I'd rather listen to him all day than listen to that one guy. I'm not going to mention his name.
This sounds like that Shia LaBeouf speech. Don't let your dreams be dreams. Make money.
So Wall Street Bets is filled with people that had that, positive influence, parenting or whatever, positive ethics, confidence, self-confidence crap. And so it's not whether or not we make gains or loses, it's whether or not we have fun.
We were raised by opinion.
Latter day, can you call my parents? Because that didn't happen to me. All the participation ribbon holders should leave.
I think they're already left, but I don't want to mention the sub where they are.
Hey, man, that wasn't on us. Nobody at 5 years old was asking for a participation trophy. That's on the boomers who were demanding their kids get it. Let's put that where it belongs.
You aren't wrong. I don't know anybody that gives a fuck.
This is now going into therapy. This is good. Who are we billing for?
Hey, fellas, STKH just ran up like 30%. Just
Did you
saying.
make that 30%?
Hell no. I just ran across it on my scanner. It says some shit about it was a halted scan. So just I get
What's the name of the ticker? Is that
STKH. Sam, Tom, Carol, Henry with a K. Hey, man, I smoked the finest marijuana Northern Virginia can grow.
Yeah, bro, I sounds like it for sure, man.
I mean, fucking Carol's names are K's and C's. Shit.
All the heads are laughing, bro. Nobody else is laughing.
Long on
Because we're all high. Fuck it.
For a second, I thought you guys were talking about HKD again, man. That thing is so
Definitely not.
dangerous.
No, seriously, on a serious note, it's STKH. I have no clue about it. I have a scanner running. It just said it was halted. It looks like the float is 1.28 million and the price was 141 when it halted at 937 or 936 in 13 seconds. So
I was really hoping this Brazil news was going to cause Valet to tank, and it is not, and I'm kind of sad.
Same.
I really wanted it to just completely dump on this news, and I was going to load up.
I should have known.
Sorry, what's Valet? If you could educate those of us that don't know what that is.
Oh, it's a diversified mining company out of Brazil. Does a lot of copper, just a lot of different metals.
What's the ticker?
VALE. Valet.
I was actually thinking about buying puts on that.
I wanted it to dump. I was going to jump in, but it's not doing what I want.
Like, if you look at the chart, it looks extended.
It looks what?
It looks overextended. So I'm thinking in a few months, like monthly puts might drop.
Brazil is full of natural resources, and Vale has the best. Is the best company there. Has the biggest outreach, political and
I
financial.
think their number one customer is based in China, and I'm not too bullish on China right now. So that's why I think it might drop.
But we're about
it's
to
like
go
the
into the
number
year of the
one
rabbit,
company
man.
that-
Year of the rabbit.
I just assumed that everything's shit until they hit the year of the dragon again.
That's next year. That's 2024, and I think that lines up with what Jerome Powell's telling you.
And the Bitcoin halving.
Lines up with a lot of things, actually.
Hey, on
2024.
the side note, I guess I mentioned this last week, which I never jumped in, but somebody just messaged me and told me to mention it. That where'd it go? CVAC, they just made a 20 bagger. They thanked me for that, and I don't know why they thanking me, but I guess I called it out. I guess it was on the scanner at some point. CVAC. I never jumped in it, but and I'll mention their name. I don't know what the fuck their name is.
Bro, you did good, but now you coming back in. Like you should.
My
just
bad.
stayed
I'm
still,
out of here.
bro.
Let me
Stay
go.
still, bro. You good? You got your rep back. Like
My
chill.
man. Peace out.
Like chill, bro. Chill, bro.
I'm gonna take this last rip and I'm out.
I would fucking do it with you. I'm not ready. God damn it. Warm, motherfucker.
Okay. I'll wait. Hold on.
Too late now. Fuck. I ain't nowhere near ready.
2.62%.
Y'all have a blessed day, though, guys. Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate you. You better show up tomorrow. Let's go.
I'm here.
Delta's popping nice. Delta Airlines, DAL.
Dang, I thought they were gonna go down today.
Whoever
Good.
called Titan Medical, I think it keeps going up.
Also, it looks like UUP dove off about 1% on the day so far. Maybe I'm looking at the week. Sorry, 10% on the day.
I think I'm going to buy this GRNQ, maybe, that I've come across. It's up 30% right now, but it caps at like 250 in the last 6 months. So I think it's got like another $1 to go before it hits the top. I feel like there's some money to be made.
I just looked at those UUP puts. They're doing well.
Yes, they are.
What are you thinking, Ted? I'm going to hold.
Yeah, I'm holding on. I think on the total position, I'm up well over 100% so far. I'd have to do the math to figure out exactly where I'm at.
It's easy to hold when you're green.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, I'm going to hold that.
Let's see here. I think if it does get down to the 27 flat, I might exit half my position.
So currently sitting in Verizon puts, looking to cash that out here with the dollar move down, hopefully.
You're talking about those last week, right? Let's say last Thursday you mentioned on the pre-market here, the Verizon puts.
Yeah, that's correct. I'm looking for Merck to go down, actually. Looks like they're having a downfall now. They had some good news, but looks like they're going down more. So for some reason, this bad boy, I mean, just look at that chart. I'll be right back.
So BBBY's earnings is pre-market tomorrow, so I'm going to hold my $1 puts until after earnings and hope for a big sell-off.
I'm with you on that one, Prince. I'm with you there.
How does one report earnings when they have no money?
They make numbers up.
It's called they had those 50% off coupons.
Should change their name to Bed Bath and Beyond Broke. Get a B in there.
Change that Y into another B.
Yep.
Bed Bath and Bankrupt.
His notes here, he'd let you know it's a Bed Bath and bullish. Notes, raise your hand. We need you now.
Listen, when it hits $100, we're all gonna feel so stupid for making fun of it. You just wait.
Notes has been on a hot streak. I have a hard time betting against him lately.
Is that market cap or no? Sorry.
Notes has been playing all them biotechs, right? He's the one who keeps calling out all the little biotechs that pop off.
Yeah, that K, was it KALA? He was like, guys, I think this one might move, and it was like $6.50 or $6 when he called it out. It broke $40 a share the other day.
Nice.
So interestingly, CALA also was halted this morning. They announced it's a biotech company that they are liquidating their company. So their investors are foot.
Hey, wasn't that one of the pilots on Asiana Airlines flight that crashed in San Francisco?
Wait, hold on. CALA was halted because they're liquidating their company?
They announced that they are liquidating. So it was halted this morning.
Desmond, what do you got for us?
Yeah, it dropped from like $4 to 72 cents.
Complete liquidation and dissolution of the clinical stage biopharmaceutical company.
Well, I'm out, guys. I'll see y'all tomorrow.
Take care. It's like Tesla's having a nice little pump up. Curious how long that will stay. And looking at some competition, looking at China riots happening with Tesla, that was quite interesting. People getting mad because they didn't get a break on the price before they bought. I guess I'd be kind of a little envious, but I don't know if I'd riot over it.
I think Tesla's pumping with the rest of the. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say Delta's a straight vertical green line right now.
Ooh.
I'm just looking at NVIDIA. Like, you make so much money on this stock if you just play.
That feels like a tautology. If you play it right, you can make a lot of money.
How do we feel about Zim? I'm thinking it's going to keep on dropping. Right now it's having
Yeah,
a
I
pump
think
of
it's
5.6.
lost its darling status on Wall Street Bets.
Oh, no, please. I should go find journalists and bring them up.
Oh no.
Son of a gun. So yeah, the uranium sector is moving up a lot. A lot of green across the board. Very important. Very good.
Exactly.
Really, really nice. Making me lots of
Mhm.
money. So yeah, we can talk about that. Anything, people, hurry up. I know you don't want to hear about this. Just not.
So we do
journalists.
have Leap and Leopard in the comments. Go ahead.
Centro Electric's pumping this morning, up 9%.
Is there any news for that?
Mm, No, I don't see any news. Kind of interesting that it's pumping with no news.
So are we
I'm
going
just
up
digging for
another
data. I'm just digging
another
for something to talk
2.5%
about.
today?
I have a feeling that like some energy related plays that are more retail investing driven, are going to start popping as we head closer to February, because I think that's when the winter is going to start to get really bad and it's going to get back into the news cycle. But I don't have any things in mind particularly, so open to any ideas. But I think the key is that it has to be retail driven. I think if it's, some of these big companies that institutions are heavily invested in, it's already going to be priced in because,
So it would be like the little oil companies and the little nat gas companies, right? That we screw around with, but the bigger money doesn't play with. Like, what's the one that Luce was really into? Oh dear God, I'm not gonna get it. There was an oil one.
What
that Luce was all
sector
about.
again? Oh, rig.
No, it wasn't rig. This was much earlier on when oil first started going. He kept bringing them up. It was someone in Texas. Started with I think a V. I'm never gonna get it.
Valero.
Maybe that's who it was.
Is it Vale?
I can't remember, but it's little ones like that will be retail driven. So just look for your babies that produce oil or whatever you think is going to move.
Not to jump around, but Bed Bath & Beyond's up 30%. Would anyone load up on puts now?
I kind of want to, but the IV crush.
Yeah, do you really want to play any type of options on a 400% IV stock?
Maybe a little.
I'm in the right, I think. I'm just,
EOG was the company that he was talking about a while back, the oil company from Texas. They're not that small.
Bro, I got killed playing BBBY when the IV was 700%. I sold a cash secured put for $15. Woke up the next day and it was at 8. Lost my ass.
I guess you could sell some cash secured puts if you believe it's not going to completely go away with the IV that high. I haven't even checked it, but maybe.
And obviously, short term. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
No.
Oil and China stocks are going to be pretty strong here going forward. I'd get out of the meme space.
I was going to say, if you lost your ass on, selling puts, wouldn't that mean that buying puts could be a move?
I sold it because the IV was 700%. So I was like, oh, heck yeah. I'll totally take that. I'll totally sell a cash secured put against that. But it was a mistake.
If you think Bitcoin will still keep going up, maybe Mara and Riot, they're both up 60% right now.
We'll see how stupid the play I just did. I just bought a 50-cent put for Bed Bath & Beyond that expires at the end of the month.
Thanks.
So you're essentially playing 1 month to bankruptcy.
I'm expecting their earnings report to say, "Yeah, we broke, boys, and no one likes us."
But I mean, they just put out a statement essentially saying that bankruptcy is they put out a filing essentially saying bankruptcy is a reality that might happen, and they need to inform everyone. So what could they possibly say at earnings that would sound worse? Oh wait, actually that statement wasn't right. We're super broke. We're going down now.
NFTs. Or they're gonna say the granddaddy of them all, which will be, hey, just want to let you guys know that we found potential buyers of our debt, BlackRock.
Or super duper ultra bankruptcy.
We sold our own debt to a credit collector.
And no one's answering their phone.
It's actually owned by the mob right now. Anyone who has shares is going to get their kneecaps broken. That's probably the only way they could give a worse announcement.
Oh, you're going to pay.
I feel like we had this conversation before where basically a lot of their products you can find at Ross and TJ Maxx and Big Lots and Walmart, and the list goes on and on and on. And so I don't feel like they're really competitive at the end of the day. Like Bed Bath and Beyond, like what makes you really go in there at the end of the day?
It's their Bye Bye Baby product that I think stands out. That's where they make their money.
Literally, what they need to do is just create a separate company for Bye Bye Baby, and then all their Bed Bath and Beyond assets they can just put into a company to immediately declare bankruptcy.
So this came out like 40 minutes ago. Analysts are expecting losses per share 2.613 compared to
just keeping the conversation alive so I don't have to hear a journalist's voice today. I hope you do this. I hope you do the same thing too, because that's the goal. No journalists, it's a happy day.
I just want to point out how insane it is for Bed Bath & Beyond to lose $2.60, if I heard that correctly, in the past quarter. Because this, like, oh no, that would be for Q3. Never mind, my apologies. Is that?
Sorry,
yeah,
that should be Q4.
I was arguing with someone yesterday about whether or not the world was going to end. They were being all wholesome, and it reminded me of journalists. So I said, all right, journalists, and I'm confident that person has no fucking idea what I'm saying to them.
Don't you love it when WSB blends into real life?
Yeah.
Okay, I need to take a quick look at this Bed Bath & Beyond thing.
So,
trying to figure out
opinion, last quarter, the company missed EPS by $1.42, which was followed by a 1.62% drop in the share price.
Oof. But I think the big thing for brick and mortar is that it really doesn't, like people, investors are willing to tolerate losses in Q1, 2, and 3 if Q4 they make it all back up. Now, that's not the case. Obviously, price is going to slide, and price has already slid quite a lot for Bed Bath & Beyond. But if they, like, I think GameStop is also guiding for negative earnings in Q4, post-negative earnings, then it's just really bad. It's like...
But they don't. GameStop doesn't have the debt that BBBY has.
I just like
or AMC. We're going to be comparing these things.
Personally, I think it's us, right? I think collectively retail can stand up to be one whale. And I think our one whale has stood up GameStop. I think Bobby was, or BB Bed Bath & Beyond was an effort to stand up another one. And we did for a minute, but we just don't have the capital to hold it up.
Yeah, there's some credence in that because Best Buy was pumping about the same time because retail was fudging their fingers on their little Cracker Jack apps.
I mean, if your investment strategy relies on a bunch of random internet strangers to all hold the line for your sake, you're playing a very dangerous game.
Well,
I mean,
that's
you literally what happened with Bed Bath & Beyond was everyone's like, oh, Ryan Cohen invested into it. Everyone should invest in Bed Bath & Beyond. And the moment Cohen exited his position in Bed Bath & Beyond, the rug just got pulled out from that stock and it just tanked, like we all know it would.
I think, personally, if GameStop wasn't being held up, then when Ryan Cohen dipped, we probably would have held up Bed Bath & Beyond instead of GameStop. But again, I think we can only hold one. I don't think we can hold 3 or 4.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand the value of anything other than maybe GameStop. Like, I don't like Adam Aron. I don't think that he's a very good businessman. I actually think that he's doing bad decisions.
Did you see, speaking of Adam Aron, Wes Christian and some others have sent a letter, and if he doesn't comply by January 28th by using share intel to find out once and for all if there are phantom shares. They're filing a lawsuit on January 28th against him. Just some other news. Trying to keep going.
Now, there's a DD that came out about AMC, and it came out about how there was this Chinese conglomerate that was interested in buying out AMC, but in order to do that, they had to drop the price down, and they so George Sherman was the chairman of GameStop before Ryan Cohen came, and there was this grand theory that there were board members that were purposefully sacrificing or sabotaging GameStop. And it kind of translated over to AMC with Adam Aron sabotaging his own stock so that Chinese conglomerates can come in and start controlling American media as sort of like a psyop sort of thing. And if you look at modern media recently, you can see like a very large demographic shift to try to appease foreign audiences and stuff. Anyways, when that DD came out, it was really great. It was really in depth, and it was basically saying that Adam Aron is sabotaging AMC. But the next day, the stock pumped like 26% or something crazy, which was insane, even back in the day. And then the DD got deleted, and I never found it again.
So I'm going to say something that's probably going to be very unpopular, and I apologize. But Adam Aron is doing his moves are by far what is best for AMC, the company, even though it might not be best for AMC, the apes invested in the company. But that company has a ton of debt. They desperately need to raise money. This is a $2 billion company with $5 billion in debt, right? They're in trouble. And he's getting that money and trying to pay it off. He's doing what's right for the company. I get that, like, if you're in it for the squeeze, you hate the notion, but it's the right move. And I'm just gonna say it.
Well, so if I take what he's doing and compare it to what GameStop's doing, GameStop sold a bunch of shares to pay off their debt, whereas Adam Aron sold his personal shares first, and now he's selling the company shares to raise money for the company. So comparatively, and then Ryan Cohen actually bought more. So comparatively, it is significantly different. If we're putting in, I'm not saying that he's doing the wrong thing as far as trying to gain capital to pay off their debt. But if you want to compare it to something like GameStop, he worked opposite from what they did.
Hey, I missed the John Deere stuff. Did we talk about that?
You said
We had
John
on it
Deere?
a little bit this morning, yeah.
I think we just briefly said, "Oh yeah, here's the news," and then no one talked about it.
Do we think that that's going to be good or bad? Opinion. I'm not asking you because I think you put it in the head.
Well, I mean, you lose the right to repair. That means you can't charge exorbitant fees for maintenance and service. So that's going to be very bearish for John Deere.
Doesn't it also
Totally
mean
agree.
that you're more
Totally
likely to sell more tractors, though?
I think it's a big deal.
No, it's not it's not bullish for them at all, because they'll end up. I mean, people still use their tractors from like the 70s or 80s, and I think they already have like a near monopoly or something. I mean, their machines are really good, aren't they? So I could get someone who's super into farming up here.
This is it's something that's held their business up for a really long time. Is this so?
But to be honest, like their stock is up 1.5%. So
I can't. I don't know. I don't know what to think about.
I think it's maybe they're up right now, but the long term it is absolutely bearish because opinion is right. Is like my neighbor, his tractor is from like the 70s or older, and that thing is still trucking. He's still got that thing going.
They're the shit.
Right. But doesn't it give John Deere the incentive to like lower prices and sell more tractors and replace the 1970s shit? Right. Like, I think all the people with
No,
old tractors
what
want
it's
to
going to
do.
do is it's going to the secondhand market is going to be a lot more competitive for John Deere, which they won't have their hands in that cookie jar because obviously they don't own a tractor that someone's already bought. And so
exactly, unless they open up a second hand market. And I would also mention there was a friendly story once that certain places are buying up these tractors and renting them out, like Home Depot, Lowe's, basically all of them, because there's not enough of them, not enough machines. So that's how they're making their money. So they have all these pre-orders, and it's already kind of priced in within some respects. And also John Deere came out with if I just may mention this real quick, came out with a nice financing during COVID that said you don't have to pay, you can pay 0% interest for 10 years.
You said it there. I was going to say two things here. Not all news events are binary. It's not always good or bad. But what he just said there, I think a lot of this was already priced in. Even though the decision wasn't made, there's been discussion about this for so long. And it's probably good they get past it. And like you said, with the new pipeline and how it will be sold, they've already figured out how they're going to make money on it. Now it's just time to move on. And again,
they can certainly make money off of selling parts to these people, but I mean, yeah.
So this gets very complex very quickly. There's a rental market for heavy equipment, like Caterpillar kind of things. I know John Deere, Kabuto, there's a couple of others. They all compete in that space. So it's Cat, John Deere, Kabuto, there's like 3 more companies. They all compete in that space. That's like big.
Komatsu.
Yeah, that one. So that's big construction, right? But then we also have like the farmer John Deere. There's not a farmer Caterpillar, right? So this whole thing, this like little knot of competition gets very hard to take apart. And I'm struggling to see how John Deere fits into it and how all this is going to impact them on both sides of that business, right? Like the big side and also the residential side like us.
Hi, I'm a farmer and I use a tractor, Kubota and Ryobi equipment, as well as steel chainsaws. Haven't used a John Deere, but have followed the right to work thing for a bit. I didn't know there was some movement on that recently. I have no idea what this group was talking about with John Deere earlier. I just came in, but if they are not permitting the right to work to pass, they will be bullish because they capture. I mean, it's a big thing for farmers. Like right now, one of my tractors has several $1,000s of repair. It's a Kubota, but at the very least, they can ship out parts and we can weld them. But John Deere, when you're in a rural, remote area, it's a lot to have to trailer or tow that over to some type of vendor that only works with your brand, and then wait for them to get the parts or get a service person to fix it for you. So I mean, sure, it may be bearish.
How much land do you have? How much land do you farm, rather?
40 acres.
40 acres. Okay, so you're not having like them where they basically come in via contract and bring your stuff in and they move on to the next property.
Oh, I'm not at a commercial scale. No, definitely.
40 acres a lot, though. Let's not downplay that.
So no, by no means. If I may interrupt you for a moment, I worked for a company, like I said, called Integrated Rental. One of the very interesting things that was coming out of that company that was, I mean, like bleeding edge. They're thinking about this is putting up. They want to stand up an Amazon for you guys, for contractors that are building shit and farmers that are farming and all you guys that need parts and equipment and stuff. They want to stand up an Amazon-like website so that you can go and say, hey, I need a rotor. And, you just pop on Amazon.com. I need a John Deere rotor, bang. And it's like 10 miles away from you at this shop, whatever. And this is the cost, whatever. You can order it. They deliver it, everything. That shit is going to blow the fuck up. I don't know who's going to build it. That's what all of that entire industry is talking about right now.
I remember you from a couple months ago. Yeah, I'm really eager for that to come about, but I think that there's also a challenge of population density, especially in rural areas. It's still a lot of DIY and welding and figuring out your own hacks.
You pull apart Tractor Supply. youship.com.
Yeah, but you're talking about people shipping those parts out, and I mean, if you have to, I don't know if you've last tried to pick up a tractor shovel, but I doubt you did.
That's
because
the thing.
I definitely
That's
can't.
the thing. It's the whole deal. That's the whole point of the website is, I can order the shit today, but I can't go, with my F-150 and pick up a 4-ton hook or whatever, right? The whole point of the website is the logistics behind the whole thing too.
Is this related to Caterpillar at all? Because this
Yeah,
is
it's everybody. They're trying to I think Volkswagen is the one that's trying to push the idea. Last I heard, but the concept is that all of these competing forces in the big construction farm equipment kind of thing are going to build a website, and you can go to that website and say,
Take
I need a hook.
youship.com and meld it with Tractor Supply, whatever.com. Bam,
Yeah.
there you go.
It's basically Tractor Supply or Amazon Tractor Supply for farmers, basically.
Are you referring to Tractor Supply, the big box store? Because they don't supply.
Yeah,
tractor
this
equipment.
would be more like a Rock Auto for farmers.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that would be ideal.
Yeah,
Would you say that city folk just don't get it?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh
I
gosh.
don't even farm. I'm just southern enough to know y'all don't get it.
Well, I would just say, guys, ladies, everybody, listen. The reality is that you have to transport the stuff, and you can't. It's not like the USPS guy's gonna be like, "Hey, look, I got your big ass fucking part that you ordered." So just keep that in mind. Let's be realistic here.
It's called youship.com. That's what I'm telling
you.
They got people that'll drive it for you. They'll put it on their own truck.
Sure, but yeah,
They got a
okay.
show
So say that to
they got a
the.
show on A&E, man.
It's
more like a big flea market.
I respect your opinion, but let me say it like this. You can't even get people to transport cars to the auto dealers because they have no truck drivers to deliver them. So yeah, A&E show or not, let's be real here.
Automation's coming, my friend. We weren't meant to stand in line or sit
Yeah,
behind
the
a
robots.
freaking wheel.
Yeah, talk to me about loophole.
We weren't
Let
meant
me
to
tell
stand
you-
in line
hold
and
up.
sit behind the
Losing
wheel
some
and
brain cells
stare at
here.
the road.
Let me tell you guys, this is so. That's what we did at that company at Integrated Rental. Our software. I'm sorry, the coffee pot's on. Our software handled all the logistics and everything else, right? And so that's the pain point for these companies is that you have to use a specific single piece of software that only handles a specific company to do this shit. They're trying to put something together today where it combines all the companies together so that, rental agency 1 can send a tractor to rental agency 2. They already have the flatbed. They already have all the shit. They just don't work together.
YOLO stonks. I know how to program. All you gotta do is extrapolate data from, like either YouShip and their prices, extrapolate data from the Rock Auto of Tractor Supply. Do you program? Do you need to program?
Well, AI was right in terms of not having enough workers either. Last year when I was trying to get a dump truck to be able to bring tons of gravel from the quarry, it was the wait was months out. So I mean, it may be workers, but it's also just
Farmer, what are you doing that for? Like most of your cities have free dirt and free location in Lafayette.
Yeah,
I got a
your
mountain that they'll give
cities.
you for free.
Oh yeah, I spent time in DC part time, and there's always people throwing out fertilizer and dirt. But how am I going to take that? It's not going to be cost effective or time effective to do that. To take it out to the farm.
You don't
Don't you have
drive
to tap
around
that
with a
soil?
dump truck? Come on now.
Don't you
fucking
have to
robbing
tap that
people of their dirt and shit.
Dude, it's $300 to have a 300 or less to have a ton of dirt delivered via a fucking dump truck.
You don't just place dirt on your yard and go, "Oh, I got free dirt." Like that stuff. I mean, you could have chemicals and certain stuff on it, especially if you're a farmer. I mean, that's the worst advice I've heard since I digressed.
You got to be shitting me. In here in Lafayette, they don't play with the dirt. They got a certain section that has certain logs, certain cut pieces of wood, and then they have another section that's just for lawns. So I don't know where you're getting your information from, but cities don't play when it comes to dirt. There's lead poisoning they got to worry about. You think they're just going to give that stuff and then be like, "Oh, well, sorry, we had lead poisoning in it. We didn't tell you."
What the fuck is this guy on, bro?
Can I ask you a question? Hang on. Question. Are you the same guy who told us he collects like TVs that get thrown out and pulls out the copper and smelts copper bars to sell. Is that you?
No.
Oh,
That's
damn,
a waste
I was
of my time,
hoping.
sir. Waste of my time.
Is it early or is it late there?
I think that was U.S. Soldier is the one that collects the copper.
We got to get
Yeah,
those two
me
to
and-
meet up. One of them pulls the copper, one of them pulls the soil. They just sell in their little business. It's gonna be great.
Okay, but fun
So-
fact for you.
Whatever it takes to make a buck, right? You know, if it helps out society or empowers the next person or someone else, I'm all in, baby.
Damn right, man. Tell them.
Farmers tend to be mechanically inclined and they tend to be independent. So opening up the secondary market to them is going to be bearish for John Deere. This is like if the reverse of, cell phone fixing stores all of a sudden just lost their ability to repair cell phones. It'd be the reverse.
And who are the shareholders? Not farmers. That's not what.
Well, look, farmer, I don't know
it's not
about
typical
you.
for them.
I don't know about you, farmer, but my goal, if I'm a farmer, is to do automation. I don't want to touch it if I don't have to. Automate it. I don't care if I've got to hire the stupid iRobot little dog walker or Boston Dynamics. And
Bro,
say, Boston
you can't
Dynamics,
get a
I need
robot.
something automated
can-
out here
watching
to
you
take
can-
care
Stop.
of
I
this
know,
one thing.
dude. I know
Alright,
so
alright,
much shit
guys.
about this industrial automation. You can automate water. You can automate a lot of shit, but you cannot automate a fucking tractor.
Bullshit. They got them driving right now. Bullshit. You're crazy, dude. You're
Damn.
crazy. That's what they do. They go through in certain
Next on
towns,
A&E.
and all they have is these people own land, and then they'll come through with the tractors, and basically on a GPS unit, the guy just sits there, and then they split, and then the guy moves on to the next property and the next property, and that farmer never owns that John Deere that just came through his property, and
Well, I meant you can't automate fixing a tractor.
yes, you can. Man, don't tell me you can't automate. You can automate everything.
Bro, okay, whoa.
Everything.
You're gonna send like one of those little
I
bomb
want to be
squad
realistic
robots
here,
in
guys.
there.
You
so it's
cannot.
like
A robot cannot fix a robot. Okay, let's not. This is
What?
not 2020
A
30.
robot-
Okay.
Robot? What are you talking
Okay,
about?
wait. Let me dissect what's happening here. First of all, started trading November 20th. I believe like 90% of everything you say, you're on point. Second of all, they're right. Robots cannot fix each other today. They're working on it, but they can't yet.
Man, y'all need to do a little more homework and especially follow like Boston Dynamics. Shit.
I mean, sure, the bleeding edge of robotics can repair itself, but they're not doing that in the fucking farm, right? Like the soybean farm's not fixing itself.
And he's gonna walk into a tractor supply shop and he's gonna hand you like a credit card and.
Let me explain. Let me explain mass production here. Okay, I'll keep it very simple. Just because you have a prototype does not make it feasible for the marketplace. Okay, I understand you're watching your Boston Dynamics. Look what we came out with this week, but you have to think mass market. Okay, and you also have to think in the facts that I can make anything look good on film.
Mass market's a joke, man. Come on. You gonna believe the
No,
FDA one day? You gonna believe the FDA has got a cure for cancer? Or
I'm talking
what?
about we're talking robotics. We're not talking about.
I know, but my point is, look, society's
brain
meant to
cells.
do something obviously
I really
better. Society in general, whether it's China, whether it's here in the United States, whether it's Mexico, we're meant to do something better than argue at a border. We're meant to do something better than stand in line every day and catch out somebody's groceries.
Man,
that's their life. You know.
I don't disagree with you. But I know there's like 564 people here who are thinking, what's the play?
Exactly. Space.
Actually, they're thinking this guy does meth. Is this guy on drugs? Just reading the comments real quick.
Latter day. Listen.
Let's talk about cellular health. The Elysium. Elysium is a new company that's got. I don't know if it's public or not, but it's.
Elysium was a movie.
No. It's a company that is started for.
Hey, when's the last time you slept?
Basic
Seriously.
cellular life.
When have you slept last?
Bro, I get 4 hours every night. I've been in the Army. I was in the Army 8 years after
Same.
that. I only get four hours.
Next on A&E, we
Hey, you do
interview
need-
a specialist that's been in the Army that talks about Boston Dynamics and more. Guaranteed to change your farming one tractor at a time.
We are off the rails.
This is important. Can you do me a huge favor?
You just
Can
haven't
tell
demanded
us?
it yet. People haven't demanded it yet. Once you start demanding Rosie the robot, guess what? Rosie the robot's going to be in your living room doing your laundry,
Hey,
cooking your dinner.
I'm gonna fact bomb you. In 1980, 1970, don't quote me. AT&T, which was called something else at that time, I don't know, but they invented the
Southwestern
Robo
Bell.
vacuum.
It's called the Bells. Bells.
Thank you, Southwestern Bell. They invented the Robo vacuum, okay, which is the same thing that we bought today, which is running around the house cleaning up your floor, okay. But they invented it so long ago, and it took forever for it to get mass adoption. So that's my point.
You know why? You know what the big problem is with robotics? The biggest fucking problem has been memory storage and power. And when Terminator came out and started talking about, we put the computing power on a cube. That was the game changer.
No, the biggest problem is like AI was saying, there's no market share. There's no population using it. Like farmers, we're too busy farming to have several $100,000 to get some software and put it on a tractor that's 20 years old. It's not like we're going to just go out and get a loan for $200K and get a new tractor so we can mow.
Because you're the property owner. All you got to do is make a phone call. Somebody comes with their automated tractor, or a tractor just drives up, farms, processes it, gives you your half. They take their cut and they're gone.
Anywho, so does anyone know any publicly traded rehab facilities?
Can we talk about CPI?
Go for it.
How do we feel about it? I'm thinking, I don't know, like the way SPY is looking on the charts, it looks like we have another leg down. And then CPI could cause that. And then therefore, like continuing on the following weeks, we could see lower lows. So SPY puts for CPI.
So you're expecting it to be worse than what they're expecting?
A bit worse, yeah.
I think CPI will ease and the market will rally upon the CPI release. I think tomorrow, with the Fed speaking, J. Powell could spank the market down to follow the rally into the CPI.
So
the energy.
Who's speaking tomorrow? Who's speaking tomorrow?
The Fed.
Are they going to step on this rally?
I think he just said that. I wasn't listening either.
I think what's going to go on is they're going to come out with the CPI numbers. They're not going to be as. Sorry, hold on 1 second. Something.
So my app just crashed.
CPI numbers come out before they speak tomorrow?
The Fed speaks tomorrow pre-market, and then Thursday, I believe, is CPI. Not sure what time.
Keep in mind, CPI has, in quotation marks, been better, quotation marks, than expected the last few.
And I expect it to continue.
Yeah, it's cooling off. So I think that there's a volatility play here, because you could either play the whole the market is forward looking and it's going to be bullish because they don't expect any more rate hikes, or you could say that it's bearish because it's looking at the CPI numbers now and they're not where they should be.
Well, I mean, the big problem is with the rate hikes, you see a kind of a lagging indicator between the rate hikes and what inflation is being brought down at. And so I think we might still be in for at least one more small rate hike. We saw that there was pretty good improvement, so that's why this last rate hike was only 50 basis points instead of the 75 that it's been the last few times. So I think we have a chance of still seeing rate hikes, but we'll continue to see them to get smaller and more mild before they quit completely. I think if we can get inflation down to maybe 5%, maybe we'll start seeing rate hikes stop.
Yeah, and that's my point for tomorrow with J. Powell speaking. I think he will continue indicating that the hikes are going to continue. I don't think the pivot happens like a ton of people are predicting. He's already told the market and the street that the rates will continue into this year. So that could spank the market down. And then with CPI easing, getting quote unquote better into Thursday report, I think we'll go back up.
Also remember, and people correct me if I get names wrong, but I believe JPOW spent a lot of time talking about how he doesn't want to repeat the 70s. He doesn't want to pause early and cause inflation to go crazy. So he's more inclined, even with good numbers, to just keep rates going for now.
And he speaks at 9 a.m. tomorrow from Stockholm.
Yep, Eastern.
Or he'll just get up there and say money printer go burr and then dance around for a minute.
I mean, he's
If you have good numbers, I don't understand why you would just stop with your rates.
Because then
Well,
the
why
market
not?
would rally and lose the progress he's been making.
He doesn't want the rally to continue because it'll prolong whatever the hell we're in.
He's trying to slow the money velocity. And instead of taking the money back from all the rich bank friends of his and destroying it with the digital shredder, he's deciding to make everybody else carry the burden of more expensive money to borrow.
So
what is
tomorrow?
what is that website that tells you the expectations for the rate hikes?
I don't know, but I hope everyone has a good rest of their trading day. I'm going to go ahead and step out now. But good luck, everyone. Try not to lose too much money.
Oh, now you tell me that.
Well, you're having a bad day before, but now you change your mind? You can have a good one now?
Oh, yeah, no, I'm having a great day. I'm having a great day. If you're not having a great day, then you need to learn how to trade. Come back to Wall Street Bets and you'll learn because we got great plays that will make you lose money or win money. No, I'm having a good day, opinion. It's a good day. It's a good day today. Hopefully everyone's having a good day, having good plays. Journalist hasn't been here yet. Rocks in stocks kind of looks like journalist though, so I'm a little scared.
I'm thinking of buying Tesla puts at like 3:50 p.m.
I'm not journalist, and I despise that man. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the check. Appreciate it.
What I say, bring him up. He's not. You guys are just silly.
Okay, bring him up. Where are you, journalist? Come on up. Bring your hand up or bring your hand up. Let's go. Come on.
Here we go.
He's not here. He didn't
Then
show
again,
up.
Never play by journalists.
He's sleeping.
My emotions have been tempered in the daily of Wall Street Bets for years, so maybe I'm less sensitive to his outbursts.
Journalists tell me to buy Party City calls.
Hey, I'm still waiting for my Ryanair to fly up.
He's busy making some money, man.
The real value investors invest in themselves because that's where the true value hides.
Yeah, go to the gym.
Thank you.
Calls on oil, calls on China.
How's PBR doing? Anybody have any update on that?
I'm sorry, I don't want to change the subject back, but as far as Chinese stocks, I got. I'm doing.
You guys want that I bring the journalist?
Whoa, excuse me.
Whoa, let's
Sorry.
spoil their talk. Thanks. Let's show some respect around here.
Sorry, boy. You guys want that I bring the journalist?
Hold on. Wait a minute. Slut, what were you saying?
I was saying with the train, I have a couple of. I would do buy rights on China. I've got XPEV shares, and I'm doing a covered out of the money covered calls selling them. So that's my play on China. I think that they are flat to bullish in the next 2 months until something changes with the American market.
PBR is down 1% today.
But you got to keep on. Thank you. But you got to keep. I'm keeping my eye on the new strain of COVID. It's got some weird number. It's like BB 1.5 or something. I'm keeping a really close eye on that because that's going to drastically change my bullish position on China.
We call it the BBBY strain.
That's appropriate. It's a big deal, guys, because it's really contagious. I don't think they've determined the deadliness of it, but they do know that it's more contagious than the original COVID. So it's just a new advanced thing.
What I read is it's more contagious, but it's not as it's not sending as many people to the ER. So far.
So like, yeah, and it's kind of hard to judge how the businesses are going to react to it, because if it's more contagious, that does mean that you would
Did you cut out?
work.
You would what? I guess we'll never know.
Gana Shiva, how you doing today? Gain Shiva?
Really good, guys. How you guys doing? Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Loud
Is
and
it too
clear.
loud? Is it too loud?
No, you're good.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm pretty fine. What about you guys? What's the cake today?
What?
All I heard was cake.
Place.
I'm
Place.
like cake.
Place.
Play. What's the
Well,
play
you
today?
tell us. What are your plays for today?
No, I'll give you one, friend.
EVs.
So today we are going all in every single penny we have on GME $500 calls scheduled for Friday. So every cent that you have, just throw it in there. It's gonna happen. We all know this. So this is
Already
financial
did,
advice.
bro.
Get on it.
My play of the day
Did you say
was
500 calls?
Listen, if you don't go big, are you
So your
even
house would
making money?
collapse. So
I agree.
Okay, sorry about that, guys. Not to interrupt everybody. Go ahead, Rad, Kamar, and I believe Gain Shiva was next. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I have plays on Neo. Well, I mean, it's in the EVs actually, in the EV sector, and it's just cold. That's all. Whatever you pick is fine. I don't know if you guys understand, but I mean, it's simple. Just pick something, buy a call, that's it, and
You're
wait
talking,
until you sell shit, and that's it.
and you're talking about Chinese stocks.
Soon.
What sector are you talking about when you're saying just buy a call? It doesn't matter.
Oh, in the EV sector, everywhere.
I think he said XPAV, if I remember correctly.
No, you said Neo, which
Neo.
I play XPEV, but it follows Neo very, very closely. XPEV
Yeah,
is
me
more
too. I'm sorry. Me too. Neo. Yeah, I say Neo.
EVs, right? Electric cars.
Mm-hmm.
CCs.
Excuse me.
Nothing. I was making a joke.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm
Was
kind
that
of autist, so I don't understand the joke sometimes.
It's okay. It wasn't that funny. So we have, if you haven't joined Wall Street Bets Discord, Opinion invites you to the Wall Street Bets Discord. That's right. They're talking about Apple, the USB-C cords going in that are going to go into the iPhones, and bye Apple chargers. That sounded like shit. So I hope you get my point. Come over to the Wall Street Bets Discord if you haven't yet. That's my ad for the day.
Does that run all the time or only while we're on the call?
They banned me
24/7.
yesterday.
isn't the Apple USB thing only in Europe?
Yes, that's correct.
So Mesa Air is up another 8% so far today. That was one of the ones that Loose Ventures mentioned.
Oh, what's the ticker for that?
That is MESA, Michael Echo Sierra Alpha.
Just to let you guys know, Europe has 746 million people as of 2018. Just a quick Google check. Looks like if I update that for 2022, it says that 446.8 million people. So that affects a lot of people.
Speaking of which, what is the deal with Boyle?
It's ripping.
It looks like energy in general is ripping because, like I said, all the energy tickers I'm watching are just flying.
Well, the only one that's not flying, Enphase.
Can I give a not advice?
Sure, go ahead. You really don't have to have permission around here.
Thank you. I think everybody knows when to put it in, but nobody knows when to take it out.
Oh, brother, tell me about it.
That's what she said.
Right. We should all be saying our plays with our exit strategy.
I mean,
You guys-
if you want to hear a lot of people's exit strategy be when I become millionaire, but no, we can definitely do it.
Well,
no,
I'm playing. So my Delta play, my
Take
day-
it out on the release. I thought it was the release. That's when you take it out.
my Delta play it expires. It expires on the 20th because I wanted to get the earnings in there because I think they're gonna have bullish guidance. So that was my play of the day. My spoiler alert there.
Cool.
So back to what we were talking about earlier. Or go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, realistically, we can't really give exit strategies. It depends on market conditions. Like things can just change weekly.
No, but I'm talking about having a primary and secondary exit, as in when this happens, or if I'm going to exit before earnings because I don't want to play volatility, or I'm specifically playing volatility over.
It could also just be as simple as here's my entry price. I'm leaving on 50% gain or 70% gain, right?
Beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. I was just going to say, and also, I once was given the good advice that it's better just to give your entry and then just assume that people will take their profit. Obviously, that's the elephant in the room that we're talking about, which is most people don't know when to pull out, and I think that just comes with practice and the fact that you just have to learn that I'm going to make $5 today, or I'm going to make $100, or if you're negative $10, it's all about your risk control there, and that can't be told to somebody. That has to be like self-taught, in my personal opinion.
I'm agreed.
Also, one downside of giving an exit point is if something major happens. Because, like, I can say I'm going to get out at 50%, and then news hits this afternoon. That makes me be like, oh, never mind. I got to get out now, you know? So
that's why I was saying having a secondary exit.
Yeah, I think it's a fair game.
Yeah, you never
like mentioned.
Yeah, like take some profits and then leave some in.
Yeah, you never know when like Kramer's gonna pump in your stock.
Kramer just said to get out of crypto. So
What about the split correlation?
Bullish on crypto 2023.
So, do you guys think McDonald's is a good play to play into 2023? This slow nation, as they call it, instead of flagation or whatever that word is. Sorry, can't pronounce it today. We're not going to have a recession. People are assuming that's at least the word on the street. We're just going to have a slow nation, essentially. So I'm just curious you guys' input on that.
Was their stock heavily affected by being pulled out of Russia?
Europe. Netflix at first.
Because if it was, then if you're optimistic that the conflict is going to end this year, I would say it's bullish for McDonald's.
Yeah, I think that's priced in a long, long time ago. I think the reality is that with people with less money are going to go to fast food. That's at least the assumption. But also at the same time, I also feel that the product pricing has already been priced in already from 2022. So I feel like earnings are going to be great this year in 2023. I know the speculation on the TV is that it's not going to be, and we're going to have all these bad earnings, but they've had so much time to readjust their pricing.
I feel like fast food's almost the same price as regular food at this point. Like, seriously, is it really that much cheaper?
Also, I think of McDonald's as a real estate play. So, I mean,
That's correct.
I would consider the global economy. And are there new countries coming up? I think Croatia just became part of the EU, and Ukraine. It's going to take a couple of years till they're part of the EU. But where else can they develop into and capture more market?
That's great. So you watched the McDonald's movie about the real estate play. Nonetheless, I don't really see commercial properties exuberating in prices.
I think contrary to that, I think we're going to have a big innovation movement, as I said earlier on this call, where you're going to have all these laid off people. They're going to want to start companies. They're going to need offices. I'm sure you'll have some that will go out of their garages and start their companies. But I think we're going to that's how the office space is going to be filled up. You're just going to have a lot of innovation. But time will tell to see if I'm right or wrong.
But with those properties, I mean, is that profitable to do that? I mean, or are we going to have to sell some of these properties for cheaper just so that way we get them off the books for new remote workers and so forth?
Sure, you could argue that all day long, but I would say that they've already tested the price to overcompensate and say, hey, we're going to raise prices to squeeze the last profit out of it. And I think realism is going to hit them right in the face, and they're going to have to lower the rental prices, and we're going to get back to business.
Yeah, completely agree. I mean, in some parts of where I live, I see prices already going down just so people could get them off the books, get some renters in there and decrease rent prices. But in retrospect, I've seen kind of the opposite in certain areas where rent is increasing almost double and companies are forcing to close shop.
You guys know what it means correction?
Can you repeat that again?
Erection?
Correction.
Yeah, did you say when the correction is, or what did you say exactly? Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's a question. I'm sorry. Yeah, if you guys know what it means correction. In general, not just in the market.
Are you
No,
asking?
dude,
Like,
nobody
can
knows
you
what
rephrase the
correction
question?
means. Bro, if you're gonna make a point, make a point. Don't ask us like fucking 5-year-old questions like we're fucking retarded.
Who's the one?
I think he's generalizing here. To be fair,
who's the person that said that we're gonna buy SPY puts on market open? Someone said that at like 8:30 or something. Not 8:30.
Scald said it, but Scald has left for a while.
Should I do?
I don't think.
Well, I was looking at SPY puts, but I think it's questionable. Obviously, you have to see what happens during the market open, because remember they were talking about VIX and SPY and how they correlate with each other, and if the VIX goes over and blah 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 blah. So yeah, it's speculation, right?
I was looking at SPY puts too, but there's a lot of news this week, so there'll probably be a lot of volatility. I'll probably wait until I see like 395 or maybe 400 again, and then I'll do puts.
So SPY puts for tomorrow. Anyone?
I think it's going to be a
Tesla put.
green week. I think Opinion did appropriate. It's green on the background. Hopefully, he comes back with green tomorrow, and it's going to be a green week. We're going up. We're going to make
Yeah,
some
it's a
money
little
this week.
early.
Jesus.
It's a little early for puts. Like I said, I'd wait until this week blows over and then do the puts, because we're right now the SPY's retrending back to that 300-day average, right? Which is at 400. So it's not going to stop going up until it hits that 300-day. And now, if it breaks through and goes higher, that's kind of unlikely, but it might. But I just think it's going to hit that 300 moving day average and then turn right back around, and then we'll go through another 2-month slide downwards with a bunch of crazy rallies in the middle. But if you short it, I think if you short SPY at 400 and you just hang on for dear life, you'll be fine in the next 2 months.
Which is assuming Powell is in a bad mood tomorrow.
Assuming the Fed what?
Assuming Powell isn't in a bad mood tomorrow.
Are we assuming that he's going to not pivot, or are we going to assume that he's going to pivot? I don't know what the consensus is in this room, or at least in the market, but I feel like it's already priced in. I feel like this is priced in back in 2022.
I don't think he's going to pivot.
I don't
think he's going to pivot either.
The only people who say he's going to pivot are people that want to sell you calls.
Well, he's saying he's not, but the market is expecting a 25 and then a 0 rate hike.
Yeah. So if the Fed gets if he says 25 right before, and then he does 25, that's bullish. The market goes up because he's doing what everybody expected. So even though he's raising the interest rate, it can still get a bullish bump off the day. The only reason it would go down off of an interest rate day with the Fed is if he actually raised it higher than expected, and that hasn't happened yet.
He did exactly what he said he was going to do on December, was that 14th or 15th? I forget. But go look at the charts. I personally don't believe in this priced in idea at all. I think the markets have been way too optimistic.
Well, and they're not moving rates tomorrow, just to clarify. He's speaking. So February is the next rate change.
Yeah, my fault. February, the next rate change is true.
No, it's all right. I just wanted to make sure we're being somewhat truthful here, right?
Huh? What?
I said somewhat. No hard lines.
Yeah, there's no hard lines. I digress. So we don't get journalists back up. Anybody have any good plays they're in right now? Want to talk about their loss porn or their gain porn right now?
Yeah, I got a little bit of loss porn. I'm in. I have a UCO call. Hold on. I don't know if that's the right ticker. Let me go check. It's a natural gas, American natural gas ETF or something. UNG. And I have a call for April. $16 call for April. So I have a bullish call on natural gas, and the reason why is because since that whole pipeline blowing up mysteriously or whatever, basically all of Europe is getting its natural gas from the United States. There is no other large supplier that Europe can go to. So I'm just bullish on American natural gas exports.
I'm calling journalists right now.
What ticker was that?
UNG.
UNG. Okay, so
yeah,
I've been in a play called FLNG, which is a shipping company that takes natural gas from America to Europe, and they didn't mysteriously blow up. They were confirmed sabotage.
Yeah. Well, look at the incentives. Russia doesn't have any incentives to do that, and the United States has all the incentive to do it. So who knows, right?
Who knows? Quite a
Who
mystery.
knows? What a mystery. Those are all the plays I have. That's it, guys. Just one call.
So
What
what
else
made
you
you
guys
go
got?
with UN? What made you go with UNG?
They are just the best looking kind of chart of all of them, and not best looking as in looks like it's going up and to the right forever. I'm just talking about like technically.
Technically, okay.
Of all the natural gas companies that I looked at, I didn't look at that transportation company, so that would be a good one to look at. But I mean, if you look at its 1 year chart, it's it's at 14. It's at 1311 right now. I think the lowest 52 week number is like 1230, 12 or 1162. So it's only $2 more expensive than that. If you look at over a 5 year term, it's basically cheaper than it's been. Aside from 2020, it's cheaper than it's been all the way back to 2018. So it's trading at a fat discount. I don't see.
Do they give dividends?
What's up?
Do they give dividends?
No, there's no dividends or there's no dividends. It's just a straight equity play. But that's why I'm
Well,
doing a call on it, because there's no
so
reason to.
and you said they're
acquire
not getting
more
any.
stock.
You said they're not getting any natural gas from Europe, because I just saw the article on Bloomberg that said they got the majority of it from Norway now, like over 25%. We're less than 10% of the provider to it. And it's from a few weeks ago, but are you sure that we're the only provider? Because that's, again, me speaking exacts, I don't think that's 100% true either.
America's
No,
the
that
number
makes
one.
sense. Obviously, we're not the. Yeah, we're not the only provider, but we're the largest provider. I don't think Norway makes as much natural gas as we do.
And there's no way they can feed all of Europe.
Yeah.
So the play that I'm in is called FLNG. I got a whole DD on it, and their earnings are in February 23rd, I think, or something. I don't know, late February, and I think that they are going to just totally blow it out of the water. I think they're going to get so much money. They're literally being paid to just stay off the coast of Europe right now, like no operating costs at all. They're just using themselves as cargo, basically, just getting paid for free.
Nice. And sorry, just one more point on that UNG. So that UNG, all it does is hold near month futures contracts and natural gas, as well as swap contracts. So it's really just it's just a ticker that plays the contracts markets. It's not even a company that like owns the underlying commodity. So like I said, this is really just like a call on price go up. So it's not, I mean, if you want to really invest in natural gas, you're going to want to buy a company that actually produces it or transports it.
Who's the one that has that flex? DD?
Sorry, what was that?
Who's the one that has the flex due diligence? The FLNG company. The person who was just speaking before this one. Talking about earnings and how they're gonna blow it out of the water. Great talk.
Maybe they left.
I
hear you. You're coming.
I was making breakfast and you're quiet. I was in the kitchen. You say something? What? I think it was me.
Yeah. You said you posted your DD somewhere?
Yeah, I posted to WallStreetBets. If you click on my face and then go through my post history, and search through all the shitty memes, you'll find it.
Great. I was just looking for that. It's a energy company, right? And then it looks like it's doing pretty good on the
They're
1
a
year.
natural gas shipping company. The reason why, and I knew natural gas, I was bullish on natural gas, American natural gas, but I didn't want to play it directly because I was worried about price capping from the G7 and all the cartel that goes around it, because there's a recession going on right now in Europe. So they'd rather keep the price, artificially deflate the price of natural gas, so that people can afford groceries and gas. So the side play here was to go with shipping companies, because I knew that Europe wanted to cut off their dependency from Russia so that they could have more influence and more bargaining chips in being on Ukraine's side during this conflict, because they want Ukraine in the EU. So with Russia cutting off their supply of natural gas to Europe, they had to get it from somewhere else. They have to get it from America. Who are they going to use? They're going to use shipping companies. What's the best shipping company? I found it to be FLNG. They have all the newer ships. They've got a great website. They pay out some pretty decent dividends. Right now they're chock full of highly advanced cargo ships, bringing it over there, and then they're just parked waiting. The thing about Europe is it doesn't have storage capacities for natural gas. They were getting it from pipelines this whole time. So once you pop off the artery of the pipeline and you don't have any storage capacity, you have to use these cargo ships as storage capacity. So they're all just hanging out right now. So that's the play.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. And they've been hit pretty recently, pretty bad, but that's just because they are tied to the natural gas energy sector, and but luckily they don't have near as much risk exposure at all to the downside of natural gas, but they have all of the upside.
Yeah, I saw it was off its all-time highs, but that's kind of why I want to get into it.
Guys, I went and looked up the current numbers for gas imports into the EU, and it looks like the current storage facilities they have are almost completely full, and it's a fairly mild winter in Europe at the moment. Gas prices are super high, so consumption is trending down, but the share of American gas imports is trending up. So basically,
okay, so this is something
not
that I have to.
market. Sorry.
This is something that I have to constantly talk about. When you say that the storage capacity is almost full, you're talking about a shot glass of water and you're in the middle of a desert. Your storage capacity is almost full, but the actual capacity that you have to sustain yourself is such a small amount of storage.
Correct. I would agree with that. Where was that? Yeah, but so overall, I would say that the U.S. is going to increase its share, unless actually the U.S. does more fracking and increases production and can draw prices. The U.S. is going to have a larger share of a diminishing market in Europe. That's how I would summarize it.
How is it a diminishing market in Europe? I mean, where are they bringing plants online? Are they going to start fracking? Where are they going to get that supply from?
Yeah, they're going to start up their own store. They're going to start up larger storage capacity.
It's also just a price effect. So the prices are so high that people, I mean, literally freeze, right, and don't use gas. And industry, they raise their efficiency. Their consumption is down something like 31% in the industry in Europe. So because of the high prices.
Just out of curiosity, for the experts out there, how long does it take to basically build up storage units for these places so they can have more reserves?
What are we talking about, real quick? I came in. I didn't catch that. One more time.
We're talking about natural gas and where Europe is getting their natural gas from.
Cool, thanks.
And just to clarify, how long does it take to build up reserve storage units for these guys? Is it a year outlook, or is it pretty quick? How's that work?
They'll be
Come again?
I think you're cutting out, so.
okay to have special made facilities, and it'll take out until 2026 to have actual.
I heard 2026, Red. Or I'm not sure which one to get.
And can anybody else provide natural gas at a cheaper price than the U.S., or is the U.S. able to offer the best price?
I think I don't know. I'll tell you this: I have a $700 gas bill on my desk from the freeze that came through, so I'm pretty confident that we're going to see a lot of natural gas companies see a lot of earnings based on that freeze. Whether or not, I think we're all pissed off though, and personally, I'm looking at trying to find a way to get out of natural gas, which is something that has not happened in my 37 years of life.
So something to consider with natural gas, and I'm not an expert, but from the little I know, U.S. natural gas is liquid natural gas, LNG, is Europe can take it, but they don't have, I think it's the refineries to actually take it on site to the capacity that they can for the natural gas that they were getting from Russia. They don't have like as many facilities because they are designed to be using Nord Stream and to be using the Russian natural gas that has been coming in, which is delivered in a different form. Again, I don't know a ton about natural gas, but like this is kind of how I understand it. So the long story short is like, yes, US capacity can go over, but because they haven't built refineries to be able to accept the form that US natural gas comes in, there's a limit to the capacity that Europe can take in right now.
Well, personally, I would say I think the Europeans are capable of building LNG terminals if that's what their entire economy hinges on. What would make me really bullish on U.S. natural gas is if the U.S. would ramp up production, because that would drop prices, and then industry in Europe wouldn't have to save so much, and so consumption would go up, and U.S. would take more of that market share, and so on and so forth. But currently, I mean, we're kind of weaning ourselves. This energy crisis is weaning us off of the fossil fuels, and well, then the outlook for those markets is kind of bearish.
To your point, let me ask you this: we are being weaned off, but the same thing. It's weird because gas is like $2.70 a gallon here, but does anybody know, is that all domestic strategic reserve gas? Is that why it's so cheap? What's happening there?
I thought they filled up the strategic reserve again.
I thought they were going to. I can't figure out why my gas is $2.70. It shouldn't be. Even with the winter, it should still be over $3 a gallon at least.
No, I think it's just production lagging and leading.
Kind of breaking up. Can you repeat what you said?
I think some of the price drop in the last, call it 8 months, has been from them pulling from the strategic reserve. And you said they were filling it again. That is correct. That's not supposed to start until February, but it is if that's in that $70 a barrel range. But you got to think about it. Oil was up like 120 and 100 not that long ago. So if it's down to 70 and 80, that can reflect that kind of a price break at the pump too.
So something to understand when it comes to these energy commodities is, and they all go through these cycles, they'll be underpriced. There's some set price that the market needs in order to hit like worldwide production, right? So at X dollars of whatever, they can produce enough across all companies to feed the world. And then it'll be under it for a little bit. It'll get to that price. It'll overshoot. Kind of think like oil, because oil, at least I kind of know the pricing. Oil needs like $65 to $70. Oil went to 100. Oil pulls back to 70, right? and then it'll probably kind of bounce around there, sometimes eventually like settling at that 65-70 price in the grand scheme. Because what happens is when energy companies overshoot, when the price goes like up to $100 for oil, all these really trash companies that shouldn't exist, that shouldn't be able to pull oil because it costs them essentially like $80 a barrel to pull it out, can come online, and the market gets production in that shouldn't exist. So when you ask, like, what's happening to any of these prices, why do they fluctuate like this? It's just at certain price points, trashy production can come online, provide into the market short term, and that really hits the price. But then they go away because now it's like, okay, I can't do it at that price, but I could do it when it was super inflated. I hope that's like the long way to answer that question.
It does. It's a wonderful observation. I hadn't considered.
Awesome.
Yeah, I hadn't considered like new companies coming online as they could afford to pull the gas out of the ground. Whatever.
There are also within commodities companies that will literally sit on the product if they know it's a product that can go through a cycle like that and overshoot. And they'll just like sit on reserves of it and essentially wait for the market to overshoot and be like, all right, this is our time, and then just sell it into the market immediately. And they're like, this is when we make our money because it's overshot. And then the market gets flooded and it comes back down. And they say, okay, let's start building up again for the next overshoot.
Guessing that,
and another thing on top of that is the whole point of FLNG is to increase the supply in Europe to keep the price down.
So just hypothetically speaking, are we saying that like an oil rig in the Gulf has a per barrel or per gallon price tag on it, and they basically shut that thing down if at some point gas gets higher on the market than what it costs to pull it out, right?
Yes.
So I don't know exactly how oil contract works, if what the term is, because a lot of commodities will work in term contracts rather than just selling at a time. It'll be like over X amount of years to a supplier. But essentially, there are companies that, when it hits a low enough price, they'll just be like, they'll go to what's called care and maintenance, where they're essentially doing the bare minimum to keep it ready to restart. And then when it hits their price, they'll go back on.
I'm with you.
And that's why I'm playing the UNG, which is just a ticker that follows the futures markets, because the futures markets are going to short it, and they're going to have the best information. So that's why I'm just playing a call off the lowest point in the futures ticker.
So if all this is the case, then hypothetically, shouldn't we be buying oil right now because we're in the dip?
Yes. In my opinion, I could be wrong.
I mean,
what are some tickers that we can buy?
Before we go to the tickers, does it come down to whether or not gas prices go up, or is there more at play that we don't understand?
I mean, most people play like the technicals on this stuff. I don't think anybody's like long-term bearish or bullish necessarily. They mostly just are swing trading these future contracts.
Well, yeah, it's a cyclical market. I mean, how can you be long-term oil when it fluctuates between 50 and 120 or 130 over several cycles?
Well,
over
you can
10
be
years?
if you're in a company that you think so, like, for example, you can be long-term Exxon if you know ExxonMobil needs $40 oil. This is purely hypothetical. Don't like quote my numbers, but if you know Exxon needs $40 oil, but global incentive price is 60, you could be long-term Exxon and go, hey man, when the long-term price kicks in, they're still at 50% better. Their margins are 50% under that, so I can go long-term on them. Just depends on the company.
Right. I should clarify. There's no reason to go long-term on the ticker that I'm on, which is UNG. So, yeah.
As far as I've heard, the EIA estimates that crude oil price will be around $95 a barrel for 2023, and so there's some upside to that right now. And so, meaning if you invest in a larger oil company, on average, it might be up a little bit over the year. But I think it's very opaque to me. I think it's very difficult to understand. And it's also then there's the effect of China opening up, what that will do. I don't know if anyone has comments.
Excuse me, no, I just had a question. What's the ticker?
I don't know if there's a ticker yet. I do read in the comments NLG. That's for natural gas lawn. There's so many. There's also FRSU. NLGs from North Africa and Middle East thinks no gains without risk for that. And yeah, I guess we'll kind of find out. So go ahead, guys, with tickers.
Does anybody have any tickers?
Yeah, I have an April call on UNG. It's at $13 now. The call is a $16 call.
I actually made a fair bit. It was my biggest gain last year was ETFs, so natural gas ETFs, PXE, Papa X-ray Echo, and FCG. I don't know if those are familiar.
So I was in all of those tickers probably 3 months ago or so, and I was talking about them in here. What I noticed year over year was going into the winter, LNG, European LNG specifically, was jumping like 15% pretty much every November or so, and then it would do something similar in like February. And so I was trying to play that, but I lost quite a bit going into that, and I was like, fuck this, and dipped out of it.
Yeah, I basically just got lucky. I got come clean.
I think, though, if you guys next year going into winter, I'm certainly going to do it this year, right? 2023 is look at that going into that winter. There's almost always a 15% or so jump in pretty much all the tickers that you just know there. You just say,
I think the other thing to consider is like capital flows. Obviously, it's impossible to know until the day of, but like if the rest of the market does continue going down, it forces all the capital into things like energy that are kind of more sure plays. Like the beginning of, like actually a year ago when everything started crashing in February, March, everybody jumped into oil, and that's when we got that oil run. So that's something to think about.
Yeah, I think that the fundamental situation that Europe, and at least most of the West, as far as I can tell, is transitioning into a kind of green energy production that it has not yet put in place, will remain the fact for this year as well, right? So whatever big mistake we made last year with energy costing more and more because of take Germany as an example, shutting down nuclear power and all the other things they do. Those facts are not going to change for 2023. So then it's just a question of demand, right? How much industry is going to use.
Yeah, I've got a lithium ticker for you if you want. It's SGML. It's pretty overbought right now, but we'll see what it does in the future.
Do you think they're preparing and pricing in future shortage while all these EVs are being built?
I don't know. It's such a young stock. I mean, I have no idea where this company should be. That's the thing. They were only founded in 2011.
They're
headquartered
refiner?
in Brazil. They engage in production of lithium property, so they're real estate based. So they buy the real estate, and then they have a main project in Minas Gerais, which is in Brazil. But I mean, the reason I say they're overbought, I think, is because they're up. Just in the past year, they're up 136%. The ticker is SGML. So I mean, it went from a $8 or $10 stock to another $27 stock. So,
sorry, what was that ticker?
SGML. Earnings don't look. Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say that's pretty interesting. You got a you got a real estate lithium company based in Brazil.
Yeah, but their earnings are still negative because they're new. I mean, they're new company, so it's like I would need to do due diligence on the actual company, like, you know what I mean? So actually figure out, is there shovels in the ground, or did they only purchase the company? Is this all insider trading? It's only the tickers went public on September 2021, so it's like, who knows? But there should be enough data because they were founded in 2011. So. It's just an interesting one to watch.
So no pauses here, that's for sure. We can't have pauses because we don't want you know who here. So yeah, today's pretty interesting. Looking at SPY.
Bro, the robots are coming.
All right, I got you. Since we're talking commodities,
Thank you.
I'll continue shilling what I always shill because that's my purpose, is to shill things. So yeah, uranium, totally a good commodity for the energy sector. You know, trades at $50, all-in sustaining price of $65.
But
18%
isn't
of
there a
U.S.
ton of
electrical
uranium?
generation, so it's not going to disappear. It's giving you an entry point below the sustaining price, so you get a chance to catch it when it does. Like I said, what commodities do, hit the price, overshoot, and then correct. And you can ride it on the hit the price and overshoot part, which I'm sure all of you would have loved to have done with natural gas and oil.
Would you say it's less volatile, I guess, but I don't know. It's just not a long-term play to me because there's a ton of extra like uranium lying around. You know what I mean? It's not something that's hard to attain.
Oh boy, here we go. Get him, Rad.
Hang on for a second. Let me put on my big boy pants. All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome
Like there's
Brad
no
the
supply constraint on lithium, or I'm sorry, not on lithium, but on uranium.
So the product itself in the ground is not rare. You're correct. You could pull uranium out of seawater if it hits $200 a pound. The restriction is in the permitting time. If I today found the greatest uranium project ever found, which they did, it's up in northern Canada, it's going to take you about 15 years before anyone permits you to get a mine going to actually pull it out.
That makes me want to not invest in a public company because there's a lot of red tape in front of the industry.
But you see, that's for the company developing the mine. If you have the company that already has it and has the permits, then they're just a function of once the price hits where they need it to be, they supply, they go from not making money to making money.
But don't there have to be a lot more energy reactors built? And isn't there a lot of red tape in front of doing that? Like how much
today? So today, uranium accounts for 18% of total U.S. electrical generation. In the United States, today, 18%, and that's so.
Do you know the average like length left on the reactors? Like how much longer we're going to be using them?
So, I mean,
the submarines can use them for 30 years before they need to be refueled.
It goes by case, but the ones that are coming up to quote unquote shut down have been getting extensions. Part of the Biden infrastructure bill, which people didn't even notice, was there's actually grants in there for reactor extension. As an example, Diablo Canyon in California was supposed to shut down. They've granted a 20-year extension. There's one in Michigan that's supposed to shut down, granted a 20-year extension. Illinois is supposed to shut down, granted a 20-year extension. There's 2 new ones being built in Georgia. But this is kind of like the long, simple way of saying, can some shut down? Yes. Is the U.S. replacing 18% of its electrical generation in the next 5 years? No. No country's pulling that off. Germany went hardcore no nuclear after Fukushima in 2011, and they still have 3 reactors running. And Germany's actually efficient when they do stuff, you know?
They replace theirs with renewables, but I like the idea that no one's going to want to start a new mine. So that whatever you're investing in now is probably the player for a long time.
Quick comment on that, and I'd like to hear your opinion on this. But just again from the German perspective, no, Germany absolutely didn't replace anything with their renewable energy. The problem is the variability in and the capacity factor and so on and so forth of all the renewable energy sources. And personally, I don't really see that changing in the future. And with this tremendous electrification that's going on, or all EVs and so on and so forth, I don't see a future without significant nuclear energy in the mix for Germany and the US and the entire West, in fact. And so really long term, I would be super bullish on uranium or whatever, is in that industry.
Yeah, no, that's a complete myth. That's a complete myth. Nuclear is not being expanded. Solar and wind are, and battery backup, hydro backup, but nuclear is nuclear's not getting a push. And capacity-wise, within the last 10 years, solar and wind went from like almost zero to generating more energy than all of the nuclear plants in the world combined in just the last 10 years. Now, in the next 5 years, solar and wind is supposed to generate more power than they have in the last 20 years, or supposed to grow more than they have in the last 20 years.
The problem is
don't get
energy and output confused, right?
I'm talking about generation. Solar and wind generated more it went from zero to generating more than all the nuclear plants in the world in less than 10 years.
Yeah,
nuclear hasn't expanded. It's at a 4-decade low in generation, and it's super expensive.
Well,
it's not growing. It's a myth. I'm telling you, there's a lot of hype out there.
Hold on.
And I can show you I can share the facts and the data. I'll put it in the links.
It depends.
Literally, it's an absolute myth that nuclear is going to grow.
What about the thorium?
Just
thorium salt reactors.
The next
One at a
go.
time, guys. Hey, one at a time.
So I'll just chime in. Let's take the basis that it's not going to grow. Let's do the ultimate. Just no one's going to build anything new. All the projects are canceled. They're going to shut down as they can. Okay.
Thorium reactors, not
the overall statement is still 18% of U.S. electrical generation today uses nuclear. Can wind and solar pull in there? They definitely can. They can take some of that, but they can't pull 18% that quickly. To give you an idea of how important that is, a 3% electrical fluctuation is enough to cause blackouts and brownouts in an area. This is 6 times that capacity. I'm not against wind and solar. I like wind and solar. I want it built. But that's not what I'm pushing as a play. All I'm saying is in the very short term, nuclear is too important to the U.S. to fully phase out that quickly. Can it in 10 years? Could we look at it maybe it's gone? But yeah, but in 5 years, no.
I think your play is right, but for different reasons. One, I don't think anybody's going to start a new nuclear mine to compete with whatever you're investing in, because nuclear is not growing. 2, Russia controls a huge part of the supply chain of nuclear, so people are going to try to move away from them sourcing it to wherever you're investing. And I think I think your play is strong for the next couple of years.
So just to clarify, Russia is 20 to 30, or actually more like 40% of the world's enrichment. They don't actually pull much out of the ground, but they do control a lot of the enrichment of the material.
Hey, Rad, if I just may, I just want to say this real quick. Let's pretend that every nuclear power plant shuts down. At the end of the day, one's going to restart, and guess who's going to own the supply and demand? There's no way that we're just going to rush to this green energy movement that you guys been pushing since, I stopped counting a long time ago when it never happened. So I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair to push this ideology that nuclear power plants are all shutting down. Okay, we still need them. It's not easy to restart things and move on as a industry and shut it down and shut down other industries and say this is a new industry, this green energy movement, because it never happened. It's been talk. Yes,
No,
there's
it
been
has
action.
happened.
There's been
If solar and wind generate more energy than all the
nuclear plants are
one at a time. Whoa, guys.
Take a breath, because this is a topic that this is a topic people have very strong opinions on, and I get that.
Strong opinion.
Well, I'm not naming names. I'm not naming names, but just take a breath. we can totally discuss this. This is a very fair discussion. I'm totally into it. Just, just easy, right, gentlemen?
They got them in buckyballs. Why don't you check out buckyballs if you want to talk about radiation in your generator?
Okay, all I wanted to say real quick was this, and I'm not trying to argue any points that go nuclear or don't go nuclear. I'm just saying that it's hard to shut down something and have a brand new industry just start overnight and just assume that's how the world's going to work. It's impossible.
I didn't get a response on buckyballs. That's the latest technology with.
Hey, shut up, soldier. We need to learn.
But there's some real data behind it. I can share that and it'll make it clear.
I hate to
defining overnight. It's not going to happen overnight, but solar and wind are absolutely being installed faster than
Windmills have been around forever. Windmills have been around in the Netherlands forever. So,
but the barrier right now is batteries.
My opinion is that as soon as you get all of these older generation politicians out who are just down into their DNA afraid of uranium as a power source, you're going to start seeing a lot more politicians and a push for nuclear energy because it is more efficient. It's got a bad reputation on it.
Well,
that's undeserving.
There's another side to that though. The one thing that you're missing with any type of centralized power generation is if there are going to be more weather events and there's going to be more like power outages and stuff like that in the next 10, 15, 20 years, then the key to electricity and energy production is going to be doing it in your home. Because otherwise you're going to be waiting days, if not weeks, for the power to come back online, depending on the severity of the catastrophe. With solar, you have the ability of individuals producing their own power and selling the excess power back to the grid if that exists. But the minute a hurricane is over, the sun is the first responder to any hurricane or weather-related disaster. And if you've got solar and your solar panels survive, you can be up and running the next day without waiting for the power company to connect the lines. And in a digital network world, there's nothing more important than being back online as soon as possible. So yeah, you got nuclear, but people are never going to have nuclear power plants in their home that gives you the ability of generating electricity for yourself and selling the electricity.
Well,
hold on. Can you please don't do that. Started. That's not cool. Please don't do that. But that's one of the things. I think the energy infrastructure needs to be changed to a client server model like what you had with computing. Right now, the model of the energy infrastructure is a mainframe model where you have centralized power plants that everyone is connected to. But what happens is when the power goes out, you've got, like it just happened a couple of weeks ago, you got hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people with power out waiting for the electric company or illuminating company to come back and fix it. If you have solar, you brush off the snow off your solar panels and you're back in operation the next day. I think from a individual standpoint, like an individual household standpoint, that's sort of where I'm targeting my home. Is I want to be able to produce my own electricity, just like I have my own computing power on my desktop computer, and then connect that to the network, to the infrastructure of the electricity network. That way, when my power goes out because the line goes down, I can be back online next day and I don't have a problem.
Yeah.
What you're saying absolutely correct. You can absolutely.
One guy's at a time, please. Spoiler was first, and then you can go next.
Real quick, what you're saying though is like every other form of energy, hydroelectric, coal, gas, it's all centralized source of power. So you're not necessarily discounting the uranium argument here. You're more just pro solar power stabilization.
That's correct. They're not mutually exclusive. You're absolutely right. They're not mutually exclusive because I could never generate enough power in my home to provide power for the rest of the neighborhood. So somebody has to do that for the small companies and stuff in the area. And it's not they're not mutually exclusive. You can have, the centralized production still needs to remain. Just like today, we still have companies that use mainframes in their operations. But the piece that's missing from the energy from the infrastructure today is the client server model where people can produce their own electricity for what they need. And if they produce excess, then they can sell it back to the power company to distribute it to someone that does need it.
Okay, so I have a real genuine question.
I have a real genuine question. Let's talk about weather patterns and weather forecasting. You can't predict the weather. So let's imagine for a moment that solar panels get washed away through the typhoon or hurricane, however you want to say it, or for a fact that a tornado comes through and blows it away. Then what happens? I mean, the replacement of that is just highly, I mean, that's a point that should be taken in consideration.
Yeah, that
You're
makes sense.
selling
But
like,
They're not that
you're selling
sensitive.
like,
Or how are you
solar
going to
and wind are
power LA?
distributed. Solar and wind are distributed. So, if there's different small solar parks, they don't all get wiped out at one time. But for instance, this year in Germany and in Europe, the biggest loss of power was France's nuclear power stations were shut down for corrosion and repair, and that was the biggest outage in Europe, and that's one of the biggest reasons the energy costs were up in Europe, despite the fact that everybody keeps saying Germany switching to coal. This is in the data, in the European data, and centralized power stations, when they go out big time and cause a bigger problem than when a windmill goes out here or a solar panel goes out there.
I agree
And
with
the
you.
other thing is they already make small modular nuclear power stations for things like satellites. So, utility companies could conceivably, if the price of those smaller modular nuclear stations got cheap enough, which they're not right now, but if they got cheap enough, a utility company could just buy a bunch of those and replace them in, some of their properties that are far enough away for the radiation not to be a problem. And then that could be another thing that keeps the uranium bull market going. But I mean, I just don't see that kind of moving faster than batteries getting cheaper. I think batteries getting cheaper is just going to kill all of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. There's something called DERs, and they're distributed energy resources, and they're renewables paired with solar, wind, paired with storage. Hospitals want them. Small communities want them. Towns are buying them for critical police stations. And they're distributing their DERs, and they're big and they're growing. They're growing super fast. For like a nuclear SMR plant, the cost, it's like 10 to 15 times difference.
And the other thing
You're
I was
not
going
going
to
to get
say,
LA on solar and DERs. You're not going to be able to get major cities on this stuff.
There's whole grids on it. There's a 2 million person grid in South Australia that ran for 10 days on just solar and wind. And then in the meantime, they're planning on quadrupling the rate at which they're installing this stuff.
yeah, it all comes down to the storing the power. It's the storage of the power. It's easy to generate the power using wind or solar or nuclear or whatever. Nuclear is just the best right now because it's a direct line. It's like DC power, it's coming straight out of the steam generator.
How can it can't be the best if it hadn't grown in 4 decades?
Because it's expensive and there's too much regulation. There's red tape. It's the regulation that's holding back the technology.
Leopard, there's a whole bunch of stuff you're ignoring there. And I'm afraid you're misinformed on Europe, how the energy is working in Europe. The problem is that you shouldn't confuse generated energy with power output, which is energy per time. A society needs a given power, not an amount of energy generated over a year, unless it has unlimited storage capacity, which doesn't exist. And who knows what's going to happen there in the future. But the problem right now is that the switch to wind and solar, and I mean, I used to work in solar cell research. I would love to see that as much as the next guy, but the transition is going too quickly. There just isn't enough of a reliable energy source for when wind and solar don't generate.
So can I ask a serious
problem
question
right now?
Can I ask a serious question? At the end of the day, we have the problem with the tractor supply where you can't get the parts to the actual tractors. How do you guys expect these parts to get to the actual people when they need them to build them up or to repair them?
Are we talking about actual tractors now? Or?
No, we're talking about renewable energy. We're talking about, having the windmill outside my property or whatever you guys are suggesting that I replace with electricity.
Well,
Solar, solar panels, it's not that big of a deal, but for windmills, and especially as they expand out into ocean, installed out in the ocean, that gets more and more expensive, right? For getting parts out, doing maintenance, and so on and so forth. And so that's also a factor that I think it's making it less and less profitable.
Also, the solar panels are relatively cheap, so if they blow away in a storm, the batteries are in your garage most likely. So
That's right. The most expensive part is
smaller.
the battery unit. Correct. And then for areas like in the northwest or in the northeast where you don't have that high intensity sunshine, I mean, that's where I see opportunities for companies like Plug Power, and there's another company called Bloom Energy that makes, they can make energy appliances. So these things are like the size of a refrigerator that you can install in your home, and they use natural gas, to produce the energy for you. And some of them have the PEM membranes that produces electricity via membrane. The other one, you can just power a small generator with natural gas and produce electricity.
At the end of the day, we just need a time frame of how long it really takes to realistically set these things up, how to manufacture them, how long it takes to transport to certain areas. I mean, those are the real things, the details that need to be said here to make a realistic play or even a futuristic forecast for any of this stuff to take place. I think the ideas are great, but I mean, who cares about the ideas?
Right.
Well, yeah, all of that stuff is known, and agencies like the IEA and the IEA and others who monitor this stuff know how fast this stuff is growing and expanding.
Sure.
So
with respect to your idea, though, with respect
the
to your
amount of
ideas,
gigafactories and solar panel factories growing right now, or I don't know the exact number, but it's huge.
And
so
there's a
with
lot of
respect to your idea.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, with respect to his idea, the reality is that solar panels take a lot of materials that sometimes aren't available in certain areas. So to get this out to other countries besides just America is really just a big, challenging mission within respects to it. And then furthermore, I would add in there, making of it, the production of it, and getting it in place into people's property. You're going to need manpower for that. You can't just assume the mom and pop that
Nobody's assuming all this. It's actually happening. It's already happening.
Cool. I show me the data.
Okay, I'm going to share it. I'm going to share it, and I'll share the comments. But it is already actually happening. Yeah.
The biggest challenge is actually local regulations. Like, for example, in Florida, which is also known as the Sunshine State, where they get ample sunshine, the utility companies have the state government pass a law that you cannot use a home equity line of credit to fund installing solar panels on your home. Now, that's been changed since then, but there were a lot of regulations that were put in place by the powers that be currently that were blocking people moving ahead as fast as they wanted to with solar panels. And that Florida example is just one of them. There are HOAs currently that prohibit people putting solar panels on their homes. So the challenge to these things aren't the materials or the installation or that kind of stuff. The biggest challenge is these bureaucracies that you have to go through. You know, once you get through the HOA, then you got to go through your city, then you got to go through your state, then you got to go through federal. So that's where the real challenges lie in building this stuff out.
Well, one of the biggest things blocking the home solar is the utility who doesn't want to compete with the homeowner, and the utilities in the meantime is installing giant utility scale solar parks in places where there's a lot of solar irradiance. But the solar is the fastest growing source of new energy, and it's huge.
So I bought a new house and I have a lot of roof space. I have about a half an acre field. All of that to me looks like solar space, and I will challenge anybody on the face of the earth to tell me that I can't put those on my house.
You go. That's what you got to do. You got to just do it.
And you should. In the new IRA Act for this year, you're getting huge incentives to do it.
I mean, it behooves me. This shit is expensive, and that's the thing. So to your point, the only thing stopping me at this point, even though I'm making well enough money and paying all my bills and doing all my things, is it's expensive. And that's not to mention, like, my roof needs a lot of work before I can put solar panels on.
If you got a quote last year, get another quote, because
Eh.
solar and wind, the prices change super fast.
No, you're not wrong. Don't get me wrong. And sure, right, $5,000 to put some solar panels up there, but you're also talking about $25,000 to fix all the problems that's already there.
Speaking of a viable play, Jinko Solar is on my watch list.
Yeah, I've been swing trading that one back and forth. The price seems to go between $46 and $55. I usually buy it around 46, sell covered calls. Occasionally the shares get called away, and then I just wash, rinse, and repeat. It's good stock to play that with.
So just to clarify, I looked at the comments that you posted, Leaping Leopard. I'm not seeing the data. Maybe my eyes are blind. Might have to go get my eyes reevaluated here.
You're not blind. I'm not through. I just posted another link. The last thing is the world will add as much renewable power in the next 5 years as it did in the past 20. That'll have some of the data.
Let me clarify. I do apologize. Maybe I didn't come across clearly. I'm looking for progress data. I want to see the actual implementation being. I understand there's certain projects being placed around throughout the world, but I got to see it like on a mass scale, like to really convince me that this is a newfound thing. I would go back to like 2018, 17, I think. Don't quote me. Solar panels were the next big thing, right? Everyone got them installed, and you had all these pissed off customers. And yeah, what happened there? How did that get fixed? How can you progress that into the future?
What the fuck is happening right now? Are you guys like arguing over whether or not solar is going to be a thing?
No, we're talking about nuclear power plants, and we're talking about how nuclear is going to go to a wayside, and it's not going to be no longer used and be replaced with solar panels.
The classy discussion.
Yeah, it's and I'm not arguing anything. I'm trying to figure out, like, hey, I'm under a rock right now. I have no idea. Is the solar panels the next big thing? Help me out here.
Solar panels are great for grid stability. I don't think they're ever going to replace other things, and the fossil fuel industry is going down eventually. So what are you going to replace it with? How are you going to power like major cities with the solar panel, which needs surface area to the sun to generate as much power as a city can draw?
So China just came out with a new wind turbine, 18 megawatt wind turbine. It'll power 44,000 homes, they say.
So, okay.
One turbine?
Wait. If there's anybody in this chat right now that thinks in like 2 decades that a house or a building or something, a floor for a skyscraper won't be a 3D printed thing that comes all encompassed with, an offsetting power capability, not it's going to power itself, but it's going to offset a lot of that, right? And it's growing plants and shit, right? Like that's where we're going. So yeah, solar is going to be a big deal, but it's the combination of everything together, right? Like we're riding waves on shit, and we got windmills, and we got geothermal shit, and I don't know. What do you guys focus on the one thing?
That sounds awesome.
Yeah. Yes. All that stuff works together. All that stuff works together to promote solar and wind, but there's like pumped hydro, there's 30 different types of grid storage, there's demand response, there's all sorts of things that are working on a modern grid to balance that power. But the bulk of that power is going to be coming from wind and solar.
I can agree with that. I think the bulk of it's going to be coming from geothermal. I think the stuff that they're doing with like sending this closed loop pipe down under the ground to a heated place and getting the energy from underneath the surface of the earth is going to become much more popular, because I can take like a half an acre on the right place. I can take a half an acre and the same thing as natural gas, slap a thing on the ground and put a power line on it. And bang, I've got a generator out on somebody's farm somewhere, and I'm paying them, $5,000 a month.
Yeah, geothermal is great in like Iceland, places where the lava's up near the surface, and it's cheap. Other places it's a lot more expensive, but it might even be cheaper than nuclear. But yeah, but still, solar and wind are so much cheaper. There's a Lazarus report that figures out the levelized cost of energy for different types of energy generation, and it'll show you how much solar is, how much wind is. And because solar and wind aren't commodity based, as a grid operator is going to take power from them before they take power from a gas or a coal plant, because they don't have to buy the commodity to run the plant. Once the solar and wind plant is built and paid for, the power is virtually free. And the return on equity, the return on investment for a solar or wind farm is like, it's the shortest amount of time. In some places it was down to almost a year. In Europe last year, you could buy a solar plant and have it paid for in almost a year. And you get your investment back, you buy another one. A nuclear plant, you build it, you have to wait 10 years probably before it even starts generating power. Another 10 years before you might be close to getting your investment back, but probably longer than that. It has to generate for like 50 years at full power for the levelized cost of energy to be what is reported in these reports that they compare these energy sources to. A solar plant, 20 years to get that levelized cost of energy.
You guys, like, don't get me wrong, but if we're talking about 20 years in the future, I mean, I don't think that we're going to see a fusion breakthrough, but I do think we're going to start slowly moving towards new science.
Yes.
And, you know,
so if you have to build if you need a lot of capital, and to put it, that's the other thing about nuclear, you need a lot of capital, and that capital is at risk for a long time before you get your money back. So you want to risk it against the amount of innovation that's going on and how fast the prices are dropping in solar and wind. I don't think an investor wants to do that.
I think right now.
What kind of play should we play on this?
Solar. I'd look at solar as the fastest growing sector, fastest growing industry. And it's going to be the fastest growing for the next 2, 3, 10 years.
Okay.
Longs and calls longs and leaps and solar is such a sure bet.
Okay.
The reason why I like Jinko, the reason why I like Jinko is because it's Chinese based, so it's cheap. America's importing from China solar panel materials and solar panels in general, and also because Jinko got cleared for using I forget what the slave labor, forced labor, whatever the politically correct term is.
Forced labor, yeah.
Forced labor. Who gives a shit? So they got cleared of it after an audit, so they're good to go and be imported to America.
And Harvard Business Review gave them an award for their green and conscientious production and all that kind of stuff.
Fantastic.
I like Enphase and SolarEdge because they build the inverters. So all the panel manufacturers and the people that build all the solar plants need the inverters. So if the margins get tight with the solar panel makers, the inverter makers seem to have more of a monopoly on that growth.
Are those the inverters that are panel based, like the smaller inverters?
Yeah, they do like per panel or a single inverter for a system. Yeah, they
do both.
Yeah.
Okay. And what is that ticker?
So there's Enphase and SolarEdge, ENPH, and then SolarEdge is like SLDG.
So Enphase, if you're looking at the price, it looks like a pretty good range to start buying, but I don't know if there's room downward on it.
Oh, really quick, Delta Airlines. Looks like it might be forming a pennant. Bullish.
You guys, if you're on the East Coast and you're talking about electricity, what organization do you think of?
Dominion.
So utilities, Excel and NextEra Energy are doing well with a lot of renewable sources of generation in their mix, and their stocks are doing pretty good.
Which organization changed the face of electricity on the East Coast a long time?
You mean like Edison, Thomas Edison? I don't know what you're.
TBA, man. Why is nobody talking about the Tennessee Valley Authority?
What do they do?
Come on. Everybody on the East Coast, literally every person on the East Coast gets your electricity from the Tennessee Valley Authority. And you guys, I've been in this thing for like months, and I haven't heard
get mine from
anybody mention
Dominion
it.
Energy.
I'm too far up north.
I tell you what, listen, if it comes from the East Coast, it came from the TBA in some capacity. It may be sold to you,
Dominion
it
Energy,
may be
bro.
resold to you, but more than likely.
Dominion Energy is the standard here in Virginia. It's required by law, so we
Fair enough.
it's a monopoly of its own.
Either way, if we're talking about the TVA, there's a Department of Energy facility near me. There's all kinds of dams and TVA facilities and nuclear power plants. Like, Jesus Christ, it's everywhere. Those people, what are those people doing? They're building solar farms.
All right, but who said Thomas Edison? Because he's technically right.
He is technically right. Thomas Edison would be building solar farms and
Nikola
windmills.
Tesla would be building
But it's on the West Coast.
wireless farms.
Westinghouse.
So I'm
Not-
investing in Edison and Tesla.
Yes, actually, if you can find a way to do that, yeah.
So Enphase, is it a good price to buy now? Anybody that tracks the ticker? Because I've been waiting to buy it.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a good buy, but yeah, if I don't know if it's the optimal buy, but if you want to go 5 years, you'll make some money.
What's the chances of people starting to make like DC devices and having like a secondary DC grid in their house?
Not very.
Yeah, off-grid solar for RVs, boats. A lot of them are going 20 DC 12 and 24 volt. There's a lot of new 12 and 24 volt appliances being built in that market, and then out in places like India, where they might leapfrog the grid and go with solar for their village and their hut and stuff like that. There could be a lot of innovation in the 12 volt, 24 volt DC appliances and solar.
DC it's always going to suffer from loss, right? And I don't think that we're going to find a way out of that in the next 5 decades. But I will say that people are people. You and I, when I go camping, we're going to see a lot more of these innovations.
Yeah, you lose less because a solar inverter takes the DC from your panel and makes it AC again. And then a lot of your appliances take the AC and make it back to DC again. So if you can stay DC with your RV or your boat or your village in India, you're going to be a little bit more efficient.
I agree. I don't want anyone here to get the idea that the commercial or, factories and nothing like that is going to change to DC tomorrow. So
you can't transmit DC.
Yeah, we're not going to GameStop freaking direct current.
You're not going to change the world, but there is a growing. If you want growth, there is a growing market for DC appliances.
I do agree.
This has been a good conversation. I don't know if there's been a lot of plays, but I like the conceptual back and forth.
There's always plays. It's just a matter of whether or not you can pull them out.
No, and again, I know there's been a few mentioned, and I can think of some myself, but just the macro conversation is interesting.
Sometimes just the sector discussion is in and of itself as good as any play, right? Because then you know it a little better, so you make a better choice.
Yeah, I think we covered them all. Natural gas, solar, uranium. What are we missing? Hydroelectric?
We didn't talk about water.
Ooh, water, hydro. That's a good one.
Wait, wasn't there? Wait. The river being low. Does we have anybody updating us on the river? Remember this shit?
The river? What are you talking about?
The Mississippi was too low to send barges down or some shit. We were talking about it a week ago. Where's my always here crew at? Jeez.
So this is something that came up, but I think it went beyond the expertise of this particular chat to go into water tables.
Fair enough.
Oh, shoot, I could. But California, there's a lot of California water tickers. There's Southern California Water agencies these are all like penny stocks, but there might be a play there somewhere long term.
And if you want to make money in water, just become a lawyer and do legal rights for water out west. That's where you'll make all your money, is fighting over who gets to use what of the Missouri.
Hey, you are not wrong, sir.
I have friends who do, literally, you make bank just writing up who gets to use what percentage of the Missouri, because that's where they're all stealing from.
I'll say this. You guys want to see a group of Americans, like the first group of Americans that are going to start to really suffer going over the next several, decades, is the people in Arizona. Because they don't have any water at all. It's all in, like, they bring it all in. Fucking insane.
Oh yeah, so there's
potable water.
Desalination.
About Arizona, potable water.
Yeah. To be clear, yeah.
There's desalination plants that are growing.
Yeah. I lived there for 7 years. I like the desert. It's a beautiful place. I don't understand why humans ever chose to live there.
Well, they're good about recycling their water for like plant use and stuff. It's the drinking water for people consumption that is very hard for them.
Arizona is pretty beautiful, actually.
It is. It's gorgeous. It's a wonderful place. I absolutely highly suggest you go and visit Arizona. Don't live there and watch out for jumping choice.
What?
Right.
You know. Yeah, if you fucking know, you know.
Oh yeah, I know well enough.
Had a 9-foot tall one in my backyard that died. I set it on fire and it boiled for 8 days.
Okay. Hey, it's been a good day, ladies and gentlemen. We have not heard of you-know-who.
Voldemort, don't say his name.
Bring him on.
I'm about it.
So the last link I posted was, which should be informative. It says that renewables took 100% of the increase in global power demand in 2022. So all of the power added to grids, electric grids worldwide in 2022 was all renewables, all solar, all wind, maybe some gas, maybe some stuff that they started 5 years ago before the prices changed, got added to the grid. But going forward, it's going to be nothing but solar and wind. And it's all right there to look at in the data.
Depends on whose grid, though.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little. There'll be some stuff in the margins, in the 5% margins but as it goes forward, I mean, the prices just keep dropping for solar. They keep dropping for wind, and the storage, pumped hydro, the lithium storage, all the batteries for the cars. They said that the cars, when the batteries no longer work in these cars, like they're not good for the car, some of these companies like Nissan are pulling them out and building grid storage plants out of the used EV batteries before they even recycle them. So the storage is in the pipeline with the EV expansion. There's storage is there with the pump hydro. There shouldn't be any storage issues as this stuff scales up, and it scales up fast. There's a very interesting article by the IEA where they show you what the IEA projects each year for how much solar we're going to have. And it shows you how every year they completely underestimate how much solar and how much it grows. And I thought they got it right this time, because they finally bet that it would be growing in a big chunk, and then they ended up having to revise it upward again. I'll post that. You guys might like that. If you want to see growth stocks, look at the growth from this last thing.
So I'm 100% behind solar. Does anybody here doubt solar? Are we still trying to convince people?
Yeah, there's a huge narrative out there that it's not happening. But the difference between what the narrative is and what is actually happening is huge. It's hard. It's a hard.
It has already happened. What people fail to realize is that every form of energy that we have on the planet, with the exception of geothermal, is solar. Oil comes from decaying biomass, which comes from the sun. natural gas, coal, all those are the same thing. All the energy that we have is from the sun, except that we no longer need a million or a billion years to pass by before it gets turned into a source of energy. We can harvest it 8 minutes after it leaves the sun. We can harvest the energy from the sun. And that's you can't get more efficient than that. There's nothing you can create that can have a more efficient source of energy. And it just so happens that the sun happens to be the biggest nuclear reactor in our solar system. So you got nuclear, solar, all in one, all wrapped up in this one nice little ball that rises every morning and sets every night. But all the energy on Earth, except for geothermal, is solar energy when you come right down to it.
Yeah, until it's cloudy, then you're fucked.
Well, that's when you revert to the other forms of solar, like gas and gas and coal and oil.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's for every state.
I mean, okay, so I'm not trying to hold up. I'm not trying to get political, but let's go back a little bit, because there was a presidential debate a while back where we were talking about harvesting the solar energy from the sun, from space, and then sending it down to Earth. Let me be perfectly clear with everybody here that it may be 75 years before that happens, but absolutely the most efficient way for us to generate energy is to capture it from the sun in space and send it down to us.
Yeah, they just launched that now. They're launching that right now, but it's more of a thing where you can get 24/7 sun because you're up in space, and then you could pipe it down to like a remote location. Say your military needs power at a certain location. And It's super expensive, but it's interesting. And
It's solar at the end of the day.
If you have a home at your house, the easiest way for you to get solar power from space is to put a solar panel on it.
I agree.
And I agree with what the gentleman said, that it's not for everyone. I totally agree with that. I think we need to, like, up until now, it's been sort of a one size fits all approach to power electricity production. Like it's coal or it's gas. I think what we need to start looking at is what is the most abundant, most efficient, cheapest resource that you have in the different regions. Because like in Ohio, for example, in Cleveland, it's cloudy most of the time. You can't, you're not going to get a lot out of solar, but Ohio happens to have a lot of natural gas and oil and stuff like that. So Ohio, why not use natural gas? But in Texas, you got a state where they have a choice. They can use oil or they can use sun. In New Mexico, you can use the sun. So I think we need to look at what is the most abundant available source of energy on a localized regional level, and then implement that. It doesn't have to be a one size fits all approach anymore. We can have different ways of producing electricity, and it's easy to produce, and you do whatever's cheapest and most available in your area.
Well, and no area is totally independent and locked, and or their energy source is not going to be reliable. So
correct.
They're building these interconnects where they're piping power from like Morocco to the UK. The UK just put one into Norway because Norway's big on hydro. So when the wind's not blowing in the UK, they can pull some of that hydro from Norway, and then when the wind's overblowing, like before a storm, where they get like the wind just overwhelms their grid, they can use that to replenish the hydro plants in Norway through that interconnect. So there's one from Iceland to the UK. There's one from going in from Egypt to Greece, and some of these things are pretty big, like 10 gigs worth of power going over these HVDC lines. So the Midwest, you're going to have wind coming out of the Midwest. It's like there's negative prices. Like some of the states in the Midwest are almost getting all their power from wind right now. They're going to pipe wind energy all over the country. Texas, Arizona, you could pipe solar from down there up to New England.
Yeah. And I've mentioned this before, that, if we weren't so hell-bent on killing each other, we could use a technology that was invented or starting to be invented 100 years ago to charge the ionosphere. And you can pretty much provide the entire planet with power, electricity, pretty much free of charge.
I love science.
But the downside to that is that kind of power can have you wipe out a country at the flick of a switch. So it's not really practical, because you get someone like you got these people that are hell bent on fighting wars that
might
you
need
never
lithium
want
pills then too. But these grid interconnects are real. They're happening. They're built. Some of them. The others are being built.
All right, guys. What else is on the docket? I think we're losing people in droves because of our energy conversation. So what else can we talk about?
Okay, I was just curious. How much does this cost to truly implement, though? Like, what's the price? I'm still waiting for that figure.
No, that's the thing. The renewable costs are cheaper than fossil fuels and nuclear, and getting cheaper.
I think the answer to your
I'll send
question.
you. I could put a link with the levelized cost of energy from different sources by Lazarus.
Let's do the link. Let's do the link in the comments, and I
Okay.
think we've killed it, guys. We've talked it to death.
All right, so I guess I'll just do my private research. No problem.
Why?
No, there's links in the comment.
Down?
No, there's no price points in there, guys. And I'm still waiting for the data. I mean, if anyone's reading this stuff, reading the actual comments, they're not going to see the data that's relevant to today. Maybe I'm just have high expectations.
So what do you need? What do you need to see? Today's price, levelized cost of energy for all the sources?
You guys are talking about renewable energy utilized in certain areas, like such as America, I assume. And I want to know how much that's going to cost for each state, and then furthermore, I want to know, like, where's the resources going to come from? Are we importing all this from China? We're going to have factories that are going to be making solar panels in America. I mean,
Yeah,
that
so a
data
bunch
is
of
even in here.
a lot of new factories are open here, but China's been installing most of it. So they already have most of the factories.
Okay, I digress. Thank you, everybody, for your input. I appreciate it.
So, how's that water doing?
Why
Does anyone know how I can get water rights?
Why is SPY not going down? Damn it! I needed to go down today.
Hey, what to get 3D3K?
Just don't
Did you
trust
hear
it.
about this? Yeah, sorry. The Super Mario Brothers movie's coming out. You saw that?
Yeah.
Since you're a Nintendo fan.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm not terribly excited about it. I know that a lot of people are, and that's all I care about. Nintendo is still holding strong, right about the same place it fucking was. So that's where we are. I'm excited about Nintendo though. I ended up buying that stupid fucking Pokemon game, and my kids were playing it, and I'm looking at the fucking game, and I'm seeing all the memes on the internet and all the stupid TikToks of people making fun of it, but we're all still having a fucking good time. And then I stopped noticing it, and then I just don't give a shit anymore, and I know Nintendo's going to do well. Like record-breaking sales for a company that, for the longest time, has upheld their sales but have never really broken records. What else do we got? Opinion, where are you? Did you die? I haven't heard you in 4 hours, man.
No, I've been here. I've been listening the whole time. I'm making turkey though.
Opinion, what's going on with SPY?
It's coming back down, but it's been rallying pretty hard.
I know.
I was surprised when consumer expectations of inflation didn't touch it at all. They dipped a little bit before that was released, and I guess that's just people being afraid of uncertainty. But it came out lower than expected, 5% versus 5.2%. My turkey thigh tastes amazing, and I'm about to put out a post about claiming your WallStreetBets collectible avatar, which we released for free, and they're worth something like $200 at the cheapest right now. So go claim those. And that's pretty much all the updates I have for you. Obviously, the most important one being how good this turkey thigh is.
Where did we
recommend.
Where do we get this avatar?
Just go to new.reddit.com. Wait, hold on. Let me see. Yeah, new.reddit.com/avatar/claim. And maybe I'll put that in the comments in just a second. I'll put that also in the YouTube, Twitch, and Discord comments in case anyone's looking for that. And chiming in. Yeah, here. Let me. Ooh, never mind. I'll do it the old-fashioned way, putting it in. But yeah, that's pretty much my update. Sorry, I haven't been very vocal.
It says, unfortunately, you have not been selected to receive this collection at this time.
Oof. Yeah, so you have to have been like a member for like over a year or something and like made like a bunch of like good posts and stuff. It's technically only for the top contributors.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been here for a year, so that probably explains it.
I don't even know.
I'm sorry. I see you guys sending like the downvote emojis in the comments. I'm sorry.
Opinion.
No
Have you resigned to everybody hates you?
What? Everyone loves me. What are you talking about?
Nobody hates them. You're thinking of journalists.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Totally different person.
You know, we need some value plays to live this shit up.
Oh, well, I was thinking about wrapping it off, but before I do, I just wanted to post the claim link for anyone in the comments who's still looking for it. As soon as this page loads, post that.
I did come across a news article just now that said that 7,000 nurses in New York are going on strike, maybe. Is that the thing for you?
Sorry, what was that?
News article, 7,000 nurses, New York City strike.
Oof. Bad times for anyone who lives in New York and needs a nurse, I suppose.
Yes. Love
I
you
do not
guys.
live in New York.
I'm leaving. Bye.
Bye. Okay, the link is in the comments. I'm gonna maybe keep this talk going for like another 2 or 3 minutes and then wrap it up. Does that sound fair to everyone?
Sure. Thanks, Opinion.
No, thank you guys. There was some really good and at times spirited conversations today, so it was pretty fun. Anyone want to recap anything that came up or changes in their portfolio over the day? And if not, that's cool too. We can just wrap up a little bit early. Just make sure you guys check the comments, and there should be the sticky comment with the avatar claim link.
Yes, I went into MRK puts, and they are printing nicely. And I also went on Verizon puts and cashed out early, and it's already gapping up. So glad I exited that. Other than that, yeah, fair game. Good conversation. I learned a lot about clean energy. Also fell asleep a lot in my head because it kind of went over my head how we're actually going to implement this in the future. But yeah, obviously some smart people that have been doing some research on this for quite some time. So looking forward to those value plays or just gambling plays. I did try to claim my avatar, but once again, I'm not selected, which I wouldn't care anyway because I'm not changing my avatar. But we do appreciate your patience and letting the talk continue, Opinion, even though my patience for it is like, where's this going? And for the record, I don't know anyone who hates you. I really don't.
I try to be as fair as I can. Well,
Well, as a veteran, I have to disagree with that.
All right, fair enough.
All right, I'm not a veteran then, but yeah.
That's all good. I have
I've been saying it because they hate me. That's all right. You know, I don't mind haters, man. In fact, I love haters because they just make you succeed. I promise you they do.
No, they don't.
All right. I think we'll wrap it up there. Thanks everyone for chiming in, and we'll see you all tomorrow, Tuesday. Just keep in mind, CPI comes out before market hours, 8:30 a.m. on Thursday, and I think there was something big on Friday, but I can't remember right now.
There's Jay Powell speaking at 9 a.m. Eastern tomorrow morning as well.
Oh yeah, that guy. That guy.
So we'll be looking for some forward guidance on what we think interest rate hikes will be.
Yes, although the market is currently pricing in something like 75 to 80%, I can't recall, of a percent
What?
chance of 25% basis point increase. Wait, no?
Is it priced in already?
I would
Well,
assume so.
So the market prices in like the probabilities of things happening. And so I think it's in, of course, today's the day that I didn't stick you the link to the FedWatch tool. But it can show you the breakdown of where the markets are pricing in the coming interest rate hikes.
Yeah, 0.25 is what the market's anticipating. So anything higher than that, the market will go down. But if it hits 0.25 or, better, then we'll probably be bullish.
But not necessarily, right? I mean, they could always announce higher interest rates, but then say we've arrived at our terminal rate or whatever, or terminal rates are lower than expected.
Yeah,
so
the forward guidance too could change that whole narrative of where the market goes. But I'm hoping Jay Powell tries to shut down the market a little bit. It's pumped up nicely.
See, someone's got puts. All right, well,
Yeah.
Oh, Jay Bourbon.
Wish me luck, bro.
Yeah. Good luck to you. And to everyone else, also good luck, unless you have the opposite position of Jay Bourbon. See you all tomorrow. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye.
Thanks.